Good evening. Before I begin the regular City Council meeting closed session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and city staff will issue you a number card. I will now like to call to order the regular City Council meeting closed session. The time is 5:31 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa is excused. Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sosa.
Present.
And Mayor Trujillo.
Here. Now is the time for public comment. I remind speakers that the public comment period is reserved for comments about the items listed under the closed session agenda. There's an opportunity later in the meeting for general public comment. This is a business meeting and we have business to attend to in the next hour. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the council regarding closed session items. I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive 1 warning and may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment regarding the closed session items to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 1 speaker, Mayor.
Speaker number 1, please come forward. Good evening, Mr. Squire.
Lee Squire, City of Downey, District Number 3. My comment have to do directly with your closed session. What I do not understand is you have before you litigation of Angela Leon Villa versus the City of Downey, LA County Superior Court, case number whatever. What I do not understand is you ask us to make informed comments about litigation when in fact, what you do not have in your agenda packet would be at least the first 1 or 2 pages, which would outline either the causes of action or what the substance matter of the complaints are. We the people should not have to go down to the county courthouse when in fact, that lawsuit is a matter of public record. I'm asking in the future that you have in that agenda packet at least the first couple of pages which identify what are the issues under litigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Squire. Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the mayor. The City Council will now recess to closed session under the following authorities. Number 1, Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D, subsection 1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Angela Leon Avila versus City of Downey, Los Angeles Superior Court, case number 22 STCV 04706. We will now recess to closed session. The time is 5:34. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I will now reconvene the regular council meeting closed session. City Attorney Funk, will you please report the closed session action?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Tonight, the City Council convened to discuss the one matter on the closed session agenda. There was no reportable action from tonight's proceeding. That's the conclusion of my report.
Thank you. Before we begin the regular City Council meeting open session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and city staff will issue you a number card. Lining up during public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. I will now call to order the regular City Council meeting open session. The time is 6:33 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa,
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz,
Present.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sosa,
Present.
and Mayor Trujillo.
Here. And now to lead us in the invocation, Gregory Welch, chaplain for the Downey Police Department. Please come forward. Thank you for being here, sir.
I stand before servants. I stand amongst citizens and servants. That's what a blessing looks like. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, again, we have an opportunity to convene on behalf of this great city that you've blessed. We thank you for each and every person here as a servant and our citizens here on behalf of what's needed in Downey and the good things that they see and want to change. We ask, Lord, that you guide our possible discourse with good language, good thoughts, good intentions, Lord. And we know that you'll bless that. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And now to lead us in the flag salute, if you will please remain standing, we're going to call Fire Chief Dan Herlock.
All right, if you please turn and face the flag, put your right hand over your heart and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Now is the time for City Council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, and conference meeting reports. I will start to my left, the representative of the 1st District, Councilmember Horacio Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I'll keep my comments very short. I really hope everybody enjoyed their Easter. I was away in Mexico visiting family, so at this time is the only week that I have nothing to report. But thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. The representative for the 4th District, former Mayor Claudia Frometa.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It is nice to see a full house tonight. I know we're going to be honoring some very deserving youth. And as I say, engaged communities are strong communities. I do want to, I hope you also had a good Easter, an Easter break. And I do want to let you know, we've received many emails regarding a project, a transitional housing project that this city and this council was not aware of. And I know many of you perhaps will be here tonight or are here tonight to comment on this project. I want you to know that as a representative for District 4, and that project would potentially be in my district, I was not aware. And there are no current plans that we know of at this very moment. And we are definitely going to be keeping a very close eye on any new developments. But certainly the way that this was handled was not the most responsible way. And I know that There is always the opportunity for dialogue and communication, and I think as a community, we realize and we understand there is a shortage of affordable housing, and we want to support projects that allow for affordable housing. However, this particular project is not such. This is a very different project, and we will, again, have an opportunity to discuss and discuss further when that project is brought before us. But at this time, nothing has been brought before this council. I also want to let you know I have attended some events during our city. It is always wonderful to see our community coming together for the benefit of Downey. I would like to request a couple of things of staff, and that is, sometime last year, we spoke about creating a commission for to look at the historic preservation ordinance, and a commission that would look at what type of properties these would be, and individuals that have the expertise and the knowledge for such, to review such projects. And I would like to know from staff where we are with the creation of such commission. And I would also like for staff to look into, we keep having, unfortunately, excessive speed throughout Downey. Red lights continue to be ran in different parts of our city, and I know our police department continues to monitor those. I would also like to make sure that in the major thoroughfares that we increase speed enforcement, as well as DUI checkpoints. I know we've had a couple of those recently. I think with spring and summer approaching, it is imperative that we have continuous enforcement and DUI checkpoints throughout the city. Also, in District 4, along Cheney Avenue between 5th and Florence, right behind Downey Middle School. We realize, as a mother of four, we realize the importance of getting our children to school on time. Unfortunately, what's happening in that particular segment of our city, and I suspect that is also happening in other schools throughout the city. Parents are blocking the streets. They're double parking, and again, in many cases, completely blocking driveways and just blocking traffic. It is really not acceptable. And I would like to request, in particular, for speed and ticketing for the area behind Doty, and that would be along Cheney, and this would be right before Florence. I've gotten some complaints from residents who are not able to go through that street because parents are completely parallel parking, blocking the right-of-way. And that will conclude my comments tonight. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. The representative of District 2, Mayor Pro Tem Hector Sosa.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see a pretty much full house tonight. I'll keep my comments short. I attended several events, but I'll just touch on a couple of them. I did get to go to the memorial for Pastor Jeff Johnson from Calvary Chapel Downey on Saturday, and I hung out with our Downey PD chaplain, Greg Welch. It was a blessing to be there. It was like a big reunion. It was a beautiful service. And again, it was like a reunion for me because my wife and I served at the Pioneer Club's youth ministries there for several years. And it's just great to be there. Just a great tribute to a good man, a good, faithful man. Also, I did attend the CERT graduation for this current class, Community Emergency Response Team. That was special to me. I was joined by Mayor Trujillo. That was special to me because I was able to address the recent graduates who went through the program, and there were a few families that did this as well. And It was kind of a cool deal for me because I did go through the program 7 years ago and graduated from there. And it's good to have us residents involved and be ready to go if any emergencies happen. So I do have a request for staff. I'd like a traffic survey conducted on Rundell Street between Reeves and Old River School Road, mainly focusing on the intersections of Corey and Julius to see if those intersections warrant any stop signs and see if we can get speed studies on those streets. Thank you, and that'll conclude my comments. Oh. Did you read the streets? That's Rundell Street, Rundell, between Reeves and Old River School Road. There was a debate recently if it's on Reeves, if it's pronounced Reeves or Rives. I'm going to say Reeves. And then focusing on Corey Street and Julius. Thank you, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pemberton, representing District 3.
Thank you, Mayor Trujillo. Good evening, everyone. I have some comments, and I speak quickly, and they're written down, so don't worry, they'll be good. A couple of us attended the Woman of the Year Award from Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco in Cerritos. Mayor Trujillo and Mayor Pro Tem Sosa and I. Jennifer DK is the recipient for the city of Downey. She's the owner and editor of the Downey Patriot. She's heavily involved with the Downey Rose Float Association as treasurer and many other groups. So congratulations to Jennifer. I attended the Clean Power Alliance meeting. This is discussing different sources of renewable and non-renewable types of electricity, giving consumers options of electricity other than Edison, which is better for our environment. And I'd like to talk a little bit right now about, there's the Athens trash increase for businesses and restaurants, and give a little bit more clarity to those that might not be aware. I had met personally with the Vice President of Athens to discuss the reasonings and costs incurred because of Senate Bill 1383. So as many of you know, this is a state mandate which requires residents and businesses of multifamily to reduce greenhouse gases. Green waste, including food, can no longer be dumped in the trash cans and they have to use the facilities that are state approved to take the trash. So in the past, another type of a cost increase, CalMet did not charge for recycling as China was taking it for free. They are no longer. So now next we have to send our recycling to be handled. All green waste has to be taken to state certified centers. And these are they're MRE, Material Recycling Centers. Their sites are in Victorville and Ventura. So there's a distance now charged. The main objective of this bill was for no more green waste food to hand in landfills, which causes methane gas. So this required a third truck, a third bin for many of the businesses for separation. It requires a fleet of trucks for Athens, additional trucks, additional drivers. So now their trucks have to go to Victorville and Ventura to take their waste. Cost used to be $50 a ton, now it's $125 a ton. So this state mandated handling of trash resulted in tremendous higher costs for the consumer. I haven't mentioned the paperwork that cities have to report to as well to the state. If they don't meet the requirements, cities can be fined up to $10,000 a day. But there is some good news. The good news is that your business or HOA can be resized. So if a person did not complete a questionnaire months ago, a business, they were given the standard cans. So call, I'm going to give you a number. Call and ask for the representative to come out and reanalyze what you have on your property. And that has reduced costs for a number of businesses, HOAs, things of that nature. They have dedicated a special Downey phone number. And the number is, and it's also on your bill, 833-830-4271. And I've called it and tested that line Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, and Saturday, 7 to 12. And then also write your state legislatures. What sounds like a good idea to help the environment can be financially catastrophic for many people who have to bear the cost. And this is what happens when we have an unfunded mandate. Mr. Lane is here from Athens. He's a representative. He'll be out in the lobby later if you'd like to speak with him. So thank you for coming out. I'd like to thank I work with a number of residents in removing abandoned cars, cleaning alley, dumped trash, But this is a collaborative effort with our parking enforcement, public works, and code enforcement. So thank you, everyone in the departments and our staff. Our city employees are the best because they care. They're not just employees. A resident wanted to thank our public works crew for fixing a big leak. That's from Reggie. That's all I'll say. Jason, Park and Rec, you had a breakfast with the bunny and you got on Channel 5. Many of us saw you on Channel 5. You did a great day on that rain out that we had. We have some upcoming dates. Seroptimus Casino Night is this Friday at the Arc. But I wanted to talk real quick about the Carpenters Week of the 23rd through the 27th. This is the signing of the Carpenters this week of the 55th anniversary of their signing of their record label. You can go online to, there's a website, go online to carpenters55th.com, and you'll find the whole schedule that I printed out of what days. Wednesday, I know Mayor Trujillo's on the committee, it's gonna be exciting. Wednesday, there's a walking tour, and there's also a theater at the Downey Theater, a tribute concert that you can buy tickets for. We also have the Look Theater. There's going to be a movie culminating on Saturday, the 27th at the Embassy Suites. We're not sure if Richard would be coming or not. We're just not stating right now, but that would be terrific. And the Carpenters are just a legacy here in Downey. The street fair is coming up. It's going to be on May 11th. I have a follow-up to speeding on Guatemala. I had a follow-up that we are going to be moving forward with speed humps on Guatemala between Horley and Suva and Cool Grove. Residents will be receiving a petition. They're going to put together the petition, but they have to have the majority of the residents for the support to get that 67%. So we're looking forward to slowing down, as my council colleague Claudia Frometa said. Traffic is hard. It's tough. They're going too fast. Old River School Road between Firestone and Florence. I'd like to perhaps look into getting something with the solar speed signs there, because we had a horrible accident just the other day with cars going through that as well. But I know staff is aware of that area as well. And with that, I will conclude my comments. Thank you again, and I'm looking forward to our presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I also attended several events. I attended the Chamber of Commerce Ferias de Empresarios, designed to help individuals who want to start their own business and help already businesses in place grow. Thank you for that invitation. It was at the Embassy Suites. I went to the Chuck E. Cheese reopening in Norwalk. That's the closest Chuck E. Cheese we have. I think all kids should go to Chuck E. Cheese. Please check out the Chuck E. Cheese in Norwalk. Thank you to Councilwoman Pemberton for the invitation. It was really cool being able to sit on stage and to watch the Downey Symphony rehearse for the show on Saturday. Unfortunately, prior commitment, I could not attend the show. It is an honor for me to be the mayor of Downey and to be able to say that we have our own Downey Symphony. It really is a feather in our hat. It's beautiful music, first and foremost. And I would like to see if in the future we can give tickets away to high school students for the lobby. No, not the lobby, the mezzanine section, which is basically empty most of the time. I don't know if we can start doing that and giving tickets away to students to attend and appreciate the beautiful symphonic music. It should be a student plus one, so they could bring someone. If we can make that, it's just sad to see those seats empty where our beautiful symphony is playing. I'm happy to report that Touch a Truck is returning to the city of Downey Saturday, May 18th from 10 to 1, Independence Park. Thank you so much to staff for working with the Sheriff's Department and securing the agreement so that we can have a helicopter on display for our children to touch. I think that's going to be amazing. May 18th, Touch a Truck with the helicopter. We're going to work on trying to get the helicopter to land in Downey someday. I want kids to witness that. Regarding Ceviche Fest, I understand we're going to pilot the Ceviche Fest as part of the International Food Festival. I want to see if we can have some enhanced marketing in that area to try to increase attendance for this amazing community event. And the Ceviche Fest, as far as we know, will be the first of its kind, and it'd be great to have that in Downey for our community. I would also like to see if the Consulate on Wheels, which I understand their request can be a possible hindrance on our delivery of services. They're asking for a month. Can we see if maybe we can do just a week? And it just reduce the time that they want to be here. It'd be great if we can have them here at least for a week to provide those services. If we can look into that and try to negotiate something with them so we could still bring them, that'd be great. The YMCA, I would like an update on their fundraising and how it's going. That's a priority for us. I believe it is a priority for this council to do anything we can to get this YMCA open. If we can have them back on the agenda on April 23rd with a funding request. And let's find out where they're at. And I'm asking for the agenda of April 23rd. Can I get a second on that? Why? Thank you. If we could have Public Works look into two major intersections that I think need to be maybe given a facelift. I'm talking about the intersections of Florence and Lakewood. It's one of our busiest, most visited intersections because of the historic McDonald's. But if you look at the center median, they're not up to par with what Downey should be representing. And also the intersection of Firestone and Downey. That's the epicenter of the city. It should be beautiful at all times and maintained. If we could look into those center medians and the crosswalks. I believe that concludes my comments and future agenda item requests. Now is the time for city manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a couple of, just recap a couple items on the list here. The historic preservation ordinance, I know staff has been working on that. There's been a lot of things that we have to dig into with our consultant. So we do have in the next, I think, month or two, something we're going to bring forward to the council. So I'll get you more of an update on that. But it has not been something that's laid fallow. We have been working actively on that. I will say we are working on a traffic calming report and have a consultant giving us some assistance in looking at ways to calm traffic in the community to deal with speeding issues. We do plan to bring a report to the council on that issue in June, as we've been working through that process to make sure we can deal with some of the impacts that we're seeing out there with traffic flowing too speedily, congestion, and other things. So we are planning to bring that back in the next couple of months. As well, we'll definitely look at the Cheney issue by Downey, figure out what we can do with some impacts on the morning drop-off and the afternoon pickups, I think is where probably most of the problems have been, as well as conduct those traffic studies that were mentioned about Rundell Street. That takes a little bit of time, but we'll make sure that that gets on our traffic engineering team's workload to take care of. As well as look at, I think the request was, if we can get a second on speed signs on Old River School Road, I think we're happy to take a look at that.
Second. Oh.
And similarly with the tickets to the students, the mezzanine, we'll have to take a look at that item and bring something back to council on that particular item. If I can get a second, was already on the enhanced marketing for the Ceviche Festival. We're happy to take a look into that.
Second that one.
All right. As well as the consulate on wheels. I think this is the Mexican consulate. Looking at bringing them here for a week. Is there a second on that item?
Second.
Thank you. April 23rd, bringing back an update. There was already a second on that. Thank you. And then I think that we've got, looking at the medians, Florence and Lakewood, as well as First and Downey. We're happy to do that. That's definitely something we'll take a look at. That concludes staff's report. Thank you.
Okay, it's time for presentations. Thank you, Agustin. Okay, so the Mayor's Excellence Award, one of the perks of being a mayor is we get to select individuals, organizations that we'd like to recognize for excellence. And today I am very happy to be recognizing the Downey High School cheer team. This season, Downey High School cheerleaders won the Division I Co-ed CIF title. The team traveled to Florida to compete and won 2 national titles at the USA Cheerleading Nationals. They won in the Co-ed Advanced Division as well as the Co-ed Crowd Leader Division. This marks the Downey High School cheer program's 26th national title. The Downey cheerleaders work hard to support sports programs on campus. They volunteer at community events in the city of Downey, and they compete at the highest of levels. So to assist me in the presentation, I would like to call upon Ashley Rawls of the Downey High School cheer coach. Welcome. Let me just say that I went to high school in San Francisco, California. I think it was one of the best times of my life being in high school. It's good to see the guys here with the ladies, this co-ed movement. I love it. But most of all, congratulations. You keep putting Downey on the map. I mean, the skills, the athleticism. Jocelyn, come and just give us a little glimpse. Where are you? The amazing, yeah. I mean, you guys got to see this. I know our city attorney was probably sweating because if something happened to Jocelyn, we'd be liable. Yeah. But anyways, thank you for being here. Congratulations. Please help me recognize this excellent team.
Thank you so much. So I'll just read off names really quickly. We have Alexis Alvarez, Anaya Anthony, Maya Ashby, Jimena Barraza, Jamie Bonias, Delilah Cabrera, Violet Catano, Aniana Cuevas, Aaron Driesling, Jacob Estrada, Mia Garcia, Jesslyn Gaspar, Sadie Gonzalez, Joseph Hernandez, Charlene Huerta, Carrie Hunter, Heaven Jackson, Rain Jackson, Caleb Jaraguay, Jasmine May, Valerie Medina, Bella Melendez, Natalia Perez, Phil Pilikiris, Melissa Plancarte, Janelle Ramos, Mary Elsie Resendiz, Monse Rivera, Madison Roberson, Sonia Rueda, Madison Schmidt, Kennedy Thompson, Jocelyn Urea, Mia Vargas, Oscar Velasquez, Ariana Villanueva, and Asia Walling.
We do have a certificate. Where's my certificate? Right here. Okay. We're going to take a great group picture. So everybody come on in, squeeze in. So the Downey High School cheer team, and on behalf of the citizens of Downey, in recognition of your outstanding performance and for winning first place at the 2024 United States Spirit Nationals, congratulations. Let's hear it for them. Yes. I also want to recognize my Kawanian brother, the principal of our amazing Downey High School, by the way, the Trujillo household. My son is a graduate 2013. This man right here travels with the teams. He takes so much time away from his family to root on our athletes. Tom, you're amazing. We're lucky to have you. Please give it up for our principal, Tom Howell. And here, sir, congratulations. Few words?
You want to say a few words?
Say a few words while we organize for our picture.
Sure.
Squeeze in, everybody. Come on. We're on our principal. Squeeze in.
Downey High School has been, I think it's 117 years that we have been in existence. I might be off a year or two. Ashley Rawls is the winningest coach in Downey High School history. So cheerleading became a recognized sport in 2018. And we have, and there was a COVID year in there, so we were shut down. We won 4 CIF titles, 2 state titles, and then 26 nationals in the time that Ashley has been there, which is 9 years as the cheerleading advisor. She is also our co-department chair for our history department, and she's also a history teacher. So she's very, very involved with the school. This team, these girls and boys, which I am very proud of that it is co-ed, they spend thousands of hours practicing for this program, and they keep it at a very high level, and I couldn't be more proud of the team and the advisors. So thank you very much.
Yes. Also, I also want to recognize the parents. If you're a parent of one of the members of this amazing team, please stand and be recognized for the work you do. I know all the time and all the money, right? Yeah. Thank your parents. So let's take a great picture. We're gonna push this out the way. This needs to be in the paper, right?
Could the front row come down just a little bit for the back? Yes.
Everybody ready? We're good? All right.
The yellow line. Past the yellow. Yeah. Thank you.
Well done.
So this next recipient, when I read the paper, I said, we have to recognize her. I mean, to me, this is just really cool. Cristina Osorio. Yes. Come on, Cristina. Cristina Osorio embarked on her wrestling journey at the age of 5. Under the guidance of her dad and her brother. Are they here? My dad, too. Where's the dad? Thank you, Dad. Her brother, Felix Osorio, was a standout wrestler for Cerritos College, where he clinched the state championship title during his sophomore year. Throughout high school, Cristina distinguished herself with an impressive record. She captured first place at the Masters and secured 5th place in the state tournament during her junior year. In addition, she claimed multiple league championships and consistently finished second at the CIF for 3 consecutive years. Her contributions were instrumental in leading the Viking girls wrestling team to a 2nd place finish at the CIF state tournament in 2023. In a remarkable achievement, Cristina emerged victorious over the nation's number 5 seed to win the 2024 CIF state championship in Bakersfield on February the 24th, and made history by becoming the first Downey High School girl wrestler to do so. Yes. And that is why, in recognition of your outstanding performance and for winning first place at the 2024 California Interscholastic Federation State Wrestling Championship, I have chosen you for the Mayor's Excellent Award because I think you're amazing. Congratulations. Yeah. Look, can you turn around and just show us the beautiful jacket? I mean, look at this. A champion. That's right. You want to say something? Yeah.
I just like to thank my family, my friends, and my coaches, and all the people that were there for me the whole time. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations. Just a little something. So we'll get one, then we'll bring your dad in, yeah? Dad, would you join us, please? There's a reason, man. One more time for Christina and her dad. Congratulations. Probably give this to that. All right. So now we have a couple of proclamations. It's Fair Housing Month. It's observed to reaffirm the commitment to eliminating housing discrimination and promoting equality in the housing market, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to obtain safe and affordable housing. It serves as a crucial reminder of the ongoing struggle against housing discrimination and the importance of upholding the principles of fairness and equity, enabling communities to become more inclusive and diverse. And to receive the recognition for Fair Housing Month is, do we have anybody? There you are. I'm so sorry. Abed. We call upon Martha Torres from the Community Engagement Liaison with the Fair Housing Foundation. Martha, thank you for being here and accepting this proclamation. A few words. Tell us about why this is important.
Thank you so much for everybody being here. I'm with the Fair Housing Foundation. I'm the Community Engagement Liaison. We proudly contract with the City of Downey to provide fair housing services. We offer landlord-tenant counseling on any range of issues from rent increases to eviction assistance. We investigate housing discrimination complaints, handle case management, and assist with the resolution. We have a very active education and outreach program bringing fair housing workshops via Zoom and also in person here at the Downey Library. You'll find us at street fairs promoting all kinds of information. All of our services are made free of cost through the contracts that we have with the City of Downey. April is Fair Housing Month throughout our nation, and we will be celebrating it on April 25th via Zoom. So please log on to our website, www.fhfca.org. Sign up and join us in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Torres.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And now I'm going to call upon Ben Dickow, our Downey City Library Director, because we have a proclamation for National Library Day. We're so lucky to have our beautiful library, right? National Library Week is a celebration that highlights the essential role, come over here, Ben, that libraries play in transforming the lives through education, community engagement, and access to a vast world of resources and information. It serves as a reminder of the importance of libraries as hubs of knowledge, culture, and community connection, advocating for the support and funding necessary to keep these institutions thriving for future generations. So Ben, thank you for being here to accept this proclamation. We know how important libraries are in the City of Downey. Thank you for being our director.
Thank you so much.
A few words? Sure.
Thank you very much, everyone. National Library Week has been around since 1958, a couple of years after the Downey City Library was established. And as you know, library world has changed a lot since 1958, and especially the Downey City Library. The library is no longer just about books. It's an active space. We have access to tools and making things and classes and film societies and things like that. It's a very active place. The theme of National Library Week this week is Ready, Set, Library, which is a very active theme, just like our library. And I also want to say that what's exciting this week is that by the end of this month, we'll have expanded the Downey One card, which is an initiative that's a partnership between the Downey City Library and the Downey Unified School District. By the end of this month, every single student in Downey Unified will be automatically enrolled with a library card using their student ID. So we're opening access to the Downey City Library during National Library Week to make sure that everybody can use the resources we have. And I want to thank you very, very much to the city and all the council members for recognizing us. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
You got it.
All right. And our last proclamation for tonight, I'd like to call upon Matt Baumgartner, our Director of Public Works, so he can receive the proclamation for Arbor Day. Arbor Day plays a crucial role in promoting the importance of planting and nurturing trees, which are vital for maintaining an ecological balance. enhancing air quality, and providing an essential habitat for wildlife. It serves as a collective reminder of our responsibility towards environmental stewardship, encouraging communities worldwide to invest in a greener future for the planet. And I know that here in Downey, we're always talking about increasing our tree canopy. We need more trees, especially the nice looking palm trees. We want some of those, all right? So come on over here and receive this proclamation for Arbor Day. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mayor Trujillo. The city takes its commitment to taking care of its trees very seriously. Over the last 17 years in a row, we've been part of the Tree City USA program, which requires that the city set aside dedicated funds to take care of its 20,000 trees. Every year, our dedicated staff goes out and inspects and trims 8,000 of those trees. So we're getting to each of those trees on a 3-year cycle. In addition to being part of the program, we do events that honor Arbor Day, and this year is no different. So on April 20th, we'll be holding a fruit tree giveaway event. It's first come, first serve. We have 300 fruit trees that are available, and it's like a drive-through event here just outside City Hall. So this is an event that we do every year, and it's something that we enjoy doing for the community. So we are very dedicated, and we thank you for this honor.
All right. So at this time is when we say, if you have school-aged children, this might be a good time if you don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting. Thank you for joining, but now might be a good time. We're very conscious that we have to get you to school. So we're not offended, especially the youth leave at this time. We understand. We'll continue with the meeting now. Okay. Excellent. Continuing with the agenda, now is the time for public hearings. Item number 1, the establishment of a residential preferential parking district on the north and south sides of Basinger Street between Volte Avenue and Heldon Avenue, under the auspice of Public Works, that the City Council, number 1, conduct a public hearing concerning a resolution establishing a residential preferential parking district on the north and south side of Basinger Street between Volte Avenue and Heldon Avenue, and number 2, adopt resolution number 24-8237, establishing a residential preferential parking district on the north and south sides of Basinger Street between Volte Avenue and Heldon Avenue. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is 7:14. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
Yes, Mayor.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report on this item?
Yes, Mayor. Ed Norris, Deputy Director of Public Works, will provide the staff report.
Please come forward, Mr. Norris. Good evening. As a reminder, if you wish to speak tonight and you have not obtained a number card, please see Lisa in the back. Lisa, raise her hand, and she will give you a number card. Good evening, Mr. Norris. When you're ready.
Good evening. Mayor Trujillo, members of the City Council, City Manager Bradley, and staff, the city received a request for the establishment of a preferential parking district and parking prohibition between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, on the north and south sides of the 9030 to 9150 block of Basinger Street, between Volte Avenue and Heldon Avenue, due to overflow parking from other nearby uses, which have created late-night disturbances due to noise and other nuisances, including vehicles being parked too close to driveways, etc., for the residents of Basinger Street. There are a total of 61 on-street parking spaces along the subject block of Basinger Street. However, only 38 of the 61 spaces will be included within the preferential parking district if approved.
A parking study was completed with the assistance of the police department, who conducted license plate surveys on June 15th and June 16th, 2023, between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. to confirm the number of vehicles parked on Basinger Street during the time of the surveys, as well as how many of the vehicles are registered to non-residents. Based on the results, 89% and 87% of the on-street parking spaces were occupied, and 76% and 52% of the parked vehicles are registered to non-residents on the two survey dates respectively. A petition was received from the residents of the aforementioned portion of Basinger Street in October 2023, requesting the prohibition of overnight parking between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, and the establishment of a preferential parking district. The petition was signed by 16 of 21, or 76%, of the property owners on the block, with all 16 owners in favor of the proposal. Based on the results of the parking study and the petition received, staff has verified that the necessary criteria and level of support have been met for the establishment of a preferential parking district and the prohibition of parking between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, on the subject block of Basinger Street, and that the proposed boundaries of the district constitute a reasonably self-contained area. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this item and adoption of the resolution. On February 15th, 2024, the Public Works Committee approved the subject preferential parking district and recommended to the City Council the adoption of the resolution following the public hearing. Assuming the City Council adopts the resolution establishing said preferential parking district, and that 50% of the residents of Basinger Street apply for preferential parking permits within 60 days of the adoption of the establishing resolution, signs giving notice of the parking prohibition between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, with an exemption for permitted vehicles, will be posted. Permits may then be purchased by residents within the district boundaries for a cost of $50 annually. If fewer than 50% of the residents obtain permits, or if the number of permit holders falls below 50%, however, the City Council may repeal the district during a public hearing noticed at least 10 days in advance. The district may also be terminated by resolution of the City Council through a notice public hearing upon receipt and verification of a petition signed by a majority of the property owners within the district. Such determination shall be based upon a finding that the conditions set forth in the establishing resolution no longer exist or have diminished to such extent that the continuation of the district is unnecessary. This concludes my presentation, and I am available to answer any questions. And there may be residents from Basinger Street who would like to speak on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments on this item?
Well, I have one question. Do we have, thank you for that report, Ed. Do we have any idea where these cars are coming from? What establishments or other properties?
More than likely the apartment buildings on adjacent apartment buildings that are located on Florence Avenue. And I should point out that there are 23 parking spaces along the frontage of the apartment buildings on Basinger, which will not be part of the district. So they will be left unrestricted for the use of the general public.
Thank you.
Any other members of the council have questions or comments?
No comments, no questions.
Okay. I will now open this item for public comment. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record on this public hearing item?
We did not, Mayor.
Okay. Members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding this public hearing item may come up to the podium when your number is called. I will be calling the blue number cards for this item. I remind speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the council regarding the public hearing item. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number on this item?
We have 5, Mayor.
Speaker number 1, please come forward with the blue card. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. When you're ready.
I'm one of the owners on Bay Singers Street, and I'm afforded for this petition due to the fact that coming home from work, we have multiple cars in our family, and there's no parking whatsoever, to the point where we have to find parking either down the street or one of the other streets in order to park in front of our houses, which makes it difficult to come home to, especially late in the afternoons from work, or we're constantly jockeying one car out of the driveway, another one in the driveway, getting cars parked in front of our driveway, having them towed out, or having our trash cans moved from the front of the house for other people to park when the trash comes that day. Makes it very difficult for us to leave cars parked in front of our houses. So I just want to be forward for the petition.
Thank you, Speaker number 1.
All right, thank you.
Speaker number 2 with the blue card, please come forward. Good evening, ma'am. Whenever
Good
you're ready.
evening. Thank you. I have lived on Basinger Street for over 30 years, and the parking issue is nearly impossible. We get on trash the night before trash, we get our trash cans moved so people can take the parking spaces. We even get people that will park in front of the trash cans. Now, we all know that the trash can, they pick them up early, at least on Basinger Street they do. And what do? They can't, how does the trash collector get a hold of the cans if someone's parked in front of them? So I'm in favor of this because it's an impossible situation. As the speaker before me said, he had to have a car towed. It was halfway in his driveway, blocking it. He couldn't get in and out. So I'm very much in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 3 with the blue card, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Georgia Angelos Theodoro, and I'm here representing my father, Nick Angelos. He spoke at the last meeting. I wasn't here. But our family has been here at Downey for over 40 years. I graduated from Downey High. I still come here every week to help out my parents. And I noticed the last 2 years, after the gate was installed in the apartments, in the Florentine apartments, which I don't think a permit was pulled because I did call, ever since that, the cars have been inundated down the street. So I come every week, and every week that I come, I don't park in the street anymore. I have to usually park in their driveway, or I got to go down the street and park. And I really notice it's very hazardous. I mean, when I'm backing out late at night, when I leave, I mean, I got to have double eyes, or sometimes just maybe get out of the car to make sure it's clear. It is a hazard. And I'm young, I could drive, but I'm kind of concerned of the cars, especially if you've got a large truck and it's kind of blocking your driveway. You cannot see, it's not clear. So I'm just here to say if we could please go forward with this proposal, because it is dangerous. It's been for the last 2 years, ever since that gate was put in the Florentine apartments. So it is a hazard. I am asking the city council, the mayor, if you could please go forward with this, if you could. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 4, please come forward, blue card.
Hello, my name is David Valco, and I live across the street from the before-mentioned gates. And before those gates were put in, the parking was normal on our street. Wasn't a huge concern. There were occasional people from the complex, the Florentine apartment complex, that would climb over the wall to actually park their cars on our street. Typically, it wasn't too many people that did this. Once they established those new doors, parking is impossible. We often have to park early in the morning, waiting for people to leave for work before we can get a spot in front of our house. If guests come over to the house, sometimes they're parking on our front lawn because there is no parking on our street. They have also taken to, I don't know if it's involved with the apartment complex or nearby people, but there are people that are selling vehicles that are parking in that area, since our access to the 605 and the 5 is pretty convenient. And vehicles can sometimes be there for 3, 4, 5 days. And I've witnessed people coming out and then looking at the vehicles, checking the vehicles out, and then selling them, yet they're sitting in front of our houses for 4 or 5 days. It's become such a nuisance that we basically can't have people coming over. We don't have places to park ourselves. So we're almost forced to walk to stores just because we can't find a spot nearby our home to park in front of. It has not gotten any better, and at night also it has increased traffic at night with kids that are racing up and down the street, which never happened before. And I've been a resident there for 15 years, and I'm directly across from one of those before mentioned doors. People are not hopping over the wall now, which is nice, so it looks better, I guess. But the traffic has gotten to the point even Amazon is now doing their deliveries on our street to that apartment complex. So when they deliver to the apartment complex, they typically are parked in the middle of the road, and they will be there for anywhere from 10, 15 to 20 minutes delivering packages to the entire apartment building. So that in itself is blocking fire trucks, police vehicles, and anything else that needs to go by. But they have no choice either because there is nowhere for Amazon to park. UPS, I believe, does the same thing. I would have to check my cameras to see if they do, but it's enough of a nuisance that you can see the amount of congestion on our street. And for how many residents live there should not be that much congestion. So I am in favor of having any kind of permit, in addition to that too, there's a fire hydrant nearby one of those doors, and it is often parked in front of. So, and that's just because there is no parking. So vehicles also park in front of the fire hydrant as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Was that number 5? Or, there we go. Number 5, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Norma Susana Aguilera, and I'm a resident of 9127. I'm actually in favor of this petition, and I'm right on Clancy and Basinger. And one of the things that I noticed at night is that students come in from like Volte down on Basinger, and kind of like I'm on that curve area, they kind of like go really fast, and then they kind of find their way as to, where to park. So that area right there where I'm talking about, that T part, it's really dangerous. And like everyone is mentioning, we have a lot of cars parking in all directions. They even park against the normal flow of a parkway. They kind of find a spot, and they don't even like look at, if it's north or east or west or whatever. They just kind of park whichever way they want. At night, late hours, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, when people come in and so forth, they just kind of park in. There's, music, it's pretty loud. They kind of like mingle and congregate there for about some time and kind of make it a social thing, late at night. I'm by myself. I find that, this really makes it not a very safe area. At night, I really try not to walk or even go outside because there's people coming in and out, and a lot of the times for sure it's not people from our block, but it's also people that are coming in to visit other people in other areas, and they're not the normal people from our Basinger Street. So I'm in favor of this because I just find it to be very unsafe, and it's just a parking lot. It's not a street. You walk in and it looks pretty bad. It doesn't look like a normal regular residential street. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilera, and thank you for emailing me on this issue. I know since July of 23, you've been in contact with us. Thank you for persisting. Okay, seeing no more speakers on this, I will entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing. The time is 7:31. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the mayor. So unless there are any comments from council, I will entertain a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
I have just a comment.
Before, just to clarify, I believe there was a motion by Councilwoman Frometa and a second.
I'll do my second right after we have comment from our council colleagues.
So there's currently no second. Ms.
I just
Pemberton?
want to mention to the residents that I've sat on the Public Works Commission for a number of years and heard the same situation that's happening by the Downey Landing. And it does require permit parking so that you have access to some of your resident parking in the front late at night, people maybe with disabilities that can't even park, and the trash can situation too. People are rude and park in front of the trash can. But more importantly, as mentioned, sometimes selling of vehicles, leaving vehicles for 2-3 days at a time, and they're just sitting there. It's not necessarily the apartment people that are close by. So this will help alleviate that problem, and so that they just can't store cars or sell cars, and the neighborhood is back to what it should be.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second, please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. As to next steps, if you have any questions of when you'll be able to get the permits and whatnot, please feel free to reach out to Public Works and they'll get the specifics. There's still some things that need to be done with signage, et cetera. But thank you all for coming on this issue. That concludes the public hearing. And just one last thing before we completely move from that one. We have an ordinance here in Downey that no one is to park more than 72 hours. Is that correct, Chief? So if you ever see a car that's parked for more than like 48 hours or 72 hours, we encourage you to call the business line at the police department, traffic, I believe, or you can use the Downey app and report them, especially if they're listing a car for sale. We want you to report those, so please help us out. Thank you. I will now take public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you did not receive a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and see Lisa to be issued a number card. Before we begin the public comment period, I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the chambers. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules may be removed from the meeting. Violation of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 4003. The City Council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during this council meeting. However, that right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbances. We expect that everyone who participates in today's meeting, from the members of the council here on the dais to staff to members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in any way that disrupts this meeting. And this includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts any persons addressing the city council. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking. And any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of this meeting. Attacks of a personal nature on city staff or city council members that have no connection to agenda items or non-agenda items. I remind speakers that your comments must be addressed to me directly, not to any other council member, city staff, or member of the audience. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we did. We received correspondence from David Beltran, resident, regarding University research of adverse consequences of low-income housing, including home prices dropping. Also from resident Edson Rodriguez, who's not in favor of a youth housing development at St. Mark's Church. And Daniel Vaughn regarding submitting public comment in person at tonight's meeting regarding the development at the possible development at St. Mark's Church. And that is all, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number card?
Mayor, we have 28 speakers at this time.
Okay, if you're missing a number card and wish to speak, now's the time to go get one for Lisa. Okay, we have 28 speakers, and I realize that many of you are probably here on the St. Mark's development property. For the record, I live on Downey and Florence, basically. Okay, this project is a block and a half from my own personal home. I've made no comments, but City Manager, I know we have a room full of people who probably want to speak on this. Do you have a comment to make about this?
Yeah, Mayor, I thought it might be helpful just to say that, the city has recently become aware of a public meeting that was held on April 4th regarding a potential affordable housing development at the St. Mark's Church. Just to make sure it's known that this meeting was not a city meeting, and the City of Downey staff, the Planning Commission, City Council, have not received any formal application for a project at St. Mark's Church. The project would be required to undergo the city's applicable site plan review process once a formal application is filed with the city. Additionally, public hearings may be deemed appropriate once a formal application is submitted to the city. So at this time, we do not have any formal applications, nor have we reviewed or approved anything at the city level. So I want to make sure that was clear for folks to know. And the item is not agendized this evening for discussion either.
Most certainly, you have your absolute right to address us today. I will be limiting public comment on, non-agenda public comment to 2 minutes to accommodate the large number of speakers. But there will be no discussion from this council on the item of this proposed development at this time. I want to make that clear. But with that, certainly want to invite anyone who wants to speak, and we will start with speaker number 1, and the clock will show 2 minutes for all speakers. Thank you. Speaker number 1, please come forward. Sorry, speaker number 1, you may start when you're ready. Good evening.
Lee Squire, Vietnam era veteran, First Amendment advocate, police and firefighter advocate, mayor and city council, Downey Paramedic Services, Red Line USA, Fire Flag. On January 19th of 2024, a life-saving event happened in my family. I called 911 and the B shift of Fire Station number 2 responded. Their response in the transport of my family member was outstanding. Lo and behold, again, on March 11th, 2004, another life-saving event happened to my family member. I again called 911, and the A shift of Fire Station number 1 responded. The professionalism and the care was outstanding. In honor of their outstanding duty to this city, I want to present to them what I call the thin red line flag of honor. I'd like to present this to both Fire Station number 1 and Fire Station number 2. I'd like to hand this to the fire chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Squire. Speaker number 2, you may come forward. Good evening, Mr. Lane.
Good Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City staff. As you know from your last meeting, my name is Randon Lane. I serve as a Vice President of Government Affairs for Athens Services. We are here just to make our presence known, to make sure that the city residents and businesses are aware of the help that we are trying to provide and work with residents and businesses on this new SB 1383 implementation. I almost didn't speak tonight. Councilwoman Pemberton did an outstanding job actually summarizing all of the facts. But I did want to repeat the number. When we rolled this out in the city of Downey, we actually created a special customer service group of about 25 representatives, and their only focus is the city of Downey. So this number, 833-830-4271, is the customer service number that you can call into, and you will reach a customer service representative that is only focused on the city of Downey, Downey businesses and Downey residents. My cell number is 951-830-3485, and my email address is rlane, L-A-N-E, @athensservices.com. And if there is a concern, if there is an issue with a business or resident, they can reach directly out to me. They can call that customer service number. But we will be continuing to be here at your city council meetings for the next few months just to make sure that we are addressing the issues that have been brought up through this SB 1383 implementation. And we greatly appreciate your patience, your willingness to work with us, and our continued partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, please come forward. Good evening, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Trujillo and council members. My name is Dan Vaughn. I'm a resident of Downey at 11637 Dolan Avenue, where I've lived since 1980. But I've lived in Downey my whole life. And my parents came in 1955, and we lived in South Downey. I'm here tonight as the senior warden at St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Downey Avenue. And I've already heard several things that I need to clarify what has happened. Last year, we began working with Abbey Road, a nonprofit developer of low-cost housing. We've gone through months of talking about a plan for putting low-cost housing on our back property. The school has closed. That area was a playground area for the school. It's actually not needed as a playground area. And so we wanted to do something that would actually help the community. Also last year, Abbey Road attempted to meet with the mayor at that time. And when they came for they got an appointment, they came for their appointment, and they were put off to a planning committee person. They met with them. One of the things that they talked about in that meeting was about community engagement. And so Abbey Road on their own decided that they wanted to kind of get out in front of things and have an information session. This was what happened last Thursday. It was an invite to residents within 500 feet of the property. They were invited. We were going to provide information. It kind of snowballed on us. We had to change to the sanctuary where we had a sound system that we could use. And at that time, I'm sorry.
So sorry, you're limited on time. Is there anyone else with you that's going to speak? Would they like to cede their time to you? They have their own time? Yes. Okay. So you're giving up your time? No, mine's a minute. Okay, so we'll give you one more minute, and then you're going to get a minute. Okay. Go ahead. Let's give them a minute. We want to hear this.
We want to assure you that we're not trying to bypass any city planning or anything like that. We know we are very preliminary in our plans, and we are probably within 2 months of having some plans ready and of Abbey Road coming in, meeting with the city to go through, I don't know what you call them, but the plans, site plans or whatever. They will do that. We're not going to sidestep that in any way. We weren't trying to sidestep you or the city in any way. We were just trying to reach out to our neighbors, trying to be good neighbors. So our hope is that we can provide low-cost housing for a variety of people, one of which is transition-age foster youth. It's an underserved population. It's growing. We have students who are unhoused, and we want to provide that. Our complex would only have 16 units of that. The rest would be working family.
We appreciate you coming in, Warren. Speaker number 4.
I get 1 minute, right?
If you gave up the minute, that's
I sure
you.
did.
1 minute
I
on
sure
the
did.
clock.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you so much.
My name is Sue Flores. I'm a resident of Downey, living at 8327 Cherokee, a block and a half from the church. I've lived there 44 years. My husband, children, and grandchildren have attended Downey schools. Most still live in our community. I am also a member of St. Mark's Church, and I'm here to speak in support of our plan for low-income housing on church property. St. Mark's congregation has a vision of serving low-income families and youth transitioning out of foster care. We are at this time looking at 60 units, 25% or 15 of which would be for youth. Folks who meet this criteria are already in our community. There are youth who live in their cars or on a relative's couch while trying to attend Cerritos, Cerrillo Hondo, or even Cal State Long Beach. There are families doubling up, notice the parking, with other families in overcrowded conditions, putting stress on both children and adults. Our proposed housing and existing partnerships would provide counseling, resources, and referrals. Thank you very much.
Speaker number 5. Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Trujillo and council members. My name is Joan Heisler. I am a member of St. Mark's Church. I live at 9280 Muller Street in Downey. I have lived in the city of Downey for a total of 50 years. We at St. Mark's want you to know where we're coming from as a faith community. The last 5 years have taken away so much from us, like losing our school, dwindling numbers of parishioners, but those losses opened our eyes to all that we do have, which is unused property and a desire to help those around us who are marginalized and struggling. Downey is a city well known for its excellent school district, well-equipped fire departments and police departments, both of which are very involved in community outreach events. We're also very well known for our eating establishments, drinking establishments, and social destinations, as well as shopping options. And is there really no room or desire to also be known as a city who is aware of our own working poor families, our own aged out foster youth, or our own working homeless youth who are also trying to stay in school? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Speaker number 6. Good evening.
Good evening.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Penny Watson. I live directly next door to St. Mark's Church. And what St. Mark's is proposing is to build a 3-story building on the back half of their property with 60 units, which will serve transition-age youth, small families impacted by homelessness, and low-income individuals and families. The low income will be paying 30% of their income for rent for those units that are there that they will be occupying. We were concerned about the transition age youth. Department of Mental Health describes them as struggling with substance abuse disorders, homelessness or at risk of homelessness. They're aging out of children's mental health, child welfare, or juvenile justice systems,
are leaving long-term institutional care or experiencing their first episode of major mental illness. There are directly surrounding St. Mark's are literally hundreds of residents, which are either side of the church, behind on Dolan, and across the street is OLPH school. And we are opposed to this because it would totally impact our quality of life. We would live in fear, deprived of our sense of security, right to privacy, and a peaceful environment to be living there. And all of our property values are just going to plummet. And this is surrounded by this, what this project that is being proposed. Their lot is 159 in front, 532 feet deep. They're going to develop 266 feet from the Downey Avenue and put a 3-story building with 60 units plus other adjacent houses around that or inside for the facility.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
Thank you.
Speaker number 7, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Patty Sharp. I've lived in Downey since 1970. I'm here to represent many residents who are concerned that City Hall flies flags that are not governmental flags, particularly. I was thinking about this, thinking of all the groups that I'm in and subgroups that perhaps I would like a flag for. I'm a woman. Let's get a woman's flag. I'm a mother. How about a mother's flag? A grandmother. I'm Irish. How about a little bit of ethnicity on our flags? We could trade them around. I also was a teacher in Downey Unified. Teachers need a flag to be proud of. I was a middle school teacher. They really need a flag to be proud of. Best of all, though, for me, I'm a Christian. I would love a Christian flag. And moreover than that, I'm a Catholic Christian. And for decades and decades and decades in our church, the month of June is designated as the month for the Sacred Heart of Jesus. That would be a beautiful flag for thousands of people in our city. So my question is, are we going to get all those flags for different people that want one for their groups? I doubt it. I doubt it. So I just want to plead with you, city councilmen, and women, for your logic and wisdom, that you would get an ordinance that says from now on, we will only have governmental flags. Many cities are doing this now, and I think they are doing it to offset any lawsuits. We know we hate lawsuits, even frivolous lawsuits. It's a waste of time and money for our taxpayers. So that is my plea. Please think about it and please be smart about this.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Speaker number 8, please come forward. Good evening, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Mr. Mayor and City Council members, my name is Ralph Peck, born and raised in this city. Lived in my house for 70 years on Lexington Road, raised 3 children, and put all of us through the Downey school system. We love this city. Got this letter about a week and a half ago from Abby Rhodes. Looked like junk mail, but I opened it. I was amazed at the letter that was in here of what they're proposing to do in our neighborhood. I was so concerned, my wife and daughter and I made copies of this and went all over our neighborhood, and 98% of the people were not aware of this. But the night of this meeting, we packed this church, standing room only, with opposition to this. I went to the city planning department. I said, what do you know of this? We've never heard of it. They wanted to copy my letter so they was aware of what was going on. I know you've already talked about addressing this tonight. I understand we need a housing situation here, but not not where they're proposing, not in our backyards, not in our community. I talked to a realtor yesterday. I said, what's this going to do to my property values? He says, do you really have to ask me? He says, it's going to go right down the toilet. I'm not looking to sell, but I'm getting a little frustrated with what's going on here. Abbey Roads and these church people, St. Mark's, they just confessed that they've lost their school to create income. They have a dwindling congregation. This is a stab at leasing their property to keep their church in money. This is not what they gazais is better for our community and being good neighbors, and they want to be good neighbors. This is not good neighbors. This is running down our values. This is putting people in our neighborhoods that don't belong there. This project does not belong in my backyard. They need to do something else, take us somewhere else, but these people are shoving this down our throat, and it's got to be stopped, and we need to stop it before it goes any farther. They're ready to sign leases agreements with people last week. Thank you.
You know what? While I appreciate the applause, it's going to hold us up all night. So I'm going to ask you to stop applauding after a speaker because we just need to move it along. Speaker number 9, please come forward. Good evening, sir. Speaker number 9, when you're ready.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. It's a pleasure of mine to be here. It's been a desire of mine to be here for quite some time. Unfortunately, I've been unable to do so. I'm a pastor here in the city of Downey with Victory Outreach, and I wanted to just come and formally introduce myself and our congregation, that it is a pleasure and a privilege of us to serve this great community. We are currently involved with helping, having outreaches for the homeless, feeding homeless. Also, we have a substance abuse program where we're helping people get off of substance abuse of many kinds, whether it's addiction to drugs and alcohol, even broken families. And I just wanted to come and let you guys know that we're here to serve as a congregation. We're here to serve this great community. Thank you.
Pastor, thank you. Speaker number 10, please come forward. Good evening.
Hi,
Whenever
Mayor
you're ready.
Trujillo. My name is Michelle Farina. I'm a lifelong resident of Downey. I think this is my 5th or 6th time coming up here in the last few months to make a public comment. This time I didn't prepare a speech because I actually want to look at your faces while I'm talking. Each time I've come up here, I've come to urge Downey City Council to propose and pass a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. It is 6 months going on 7 months.
Please. Thank you.
6 months going on 7 months of this atrocity committed against humanity. We need to come together as a community. Like I said, I've been a lifelong resident of Downey. I'm proud to be from Downey. I have no plan to move out of here. I love this community, but I want to be proud of my community, and the silence really is deafening, and I just think we need to be on the right side of history here. This is not a, peace on both sides and love everyone on both sides. I mean, it is that, but you have to take a side here. When a group is being actively oppressed by another, silence is not an option. That means that you're siding with the oppressor. So I just want to make it clear that we're willing to do whatever it takes. We'll be here at every meeting until something's on the agenda. Let us know what we have to do. If we have to make a petition and get people to sign. We have a lot of support out there. Maybe people aren't coming and commenting en masse, but for every one person commenting here, I assure you there's thousands of people in our community who agree with this. So please consider it. Please do whatever you can to put this on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farina. Speaker number 11, please come forward. Good evening, speaker number 11.
Hi. Okay, I'm a long-time resident of Downey. I always considered the city of Downey, a home away from home. I'm a second-generation Palestinian refugee. I have lived all my adulthood in the city of Downey. and I raised my 3 children here in this city. My children, who are adults now, went through the Downey Unified School District, and all they have gone to college and soon will start their own families. I purchased my first home in Downey and later purchased another home also in Downey. The main reason to stay here as an Arab American is the feeling that we're part of this community. The war on Gaza has had an effect on all of us, especially in the Arab community. We are hurting by what's happening in Gaza, Jerusalem, and the West Bank. We are in pain, and we feel helpless. Adopting a ceasefire resolution will make us feel we are part of this community. I'm asking the Downey Council to adopt and support the resolution calling for a permanent ceasefire, similar to the other neighboring cities. We can do it for the people of you can do it for the people of your city and the millions of other people who stand with humanity. Thank you, and shukran.
Thank you. Speaker number 12, please come forward. Good evening, speaker number 12.
Hi, good evening. My name is Selma Duwake, and I'm a constituent of Downey. I went through the Downey school system. I graduated class of 2022. And I'm here to urge you to vote for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Though it may seemingly appear that the violence in another country does not concern you, I urge you to reconsider your position. The genocide in Gaza is reflective of a greater sentiment of the colonizer and the colonized. But if that alone does not arouse your offense, then know that this genocide is part of a greater network of political ills that might just catch your attention. The United States offers Israel at least $3.8 billion every year. That does not take into consideration the recent offerings upon light of this genocide. Perhaps you care about homelessness and public housing. Well, with $3.8 billion, we could give homes to 451,000 people a year. For a year. Perhaps you care about healthcare. Well, with $3.8 billion, we could give 1.3 million children free or low-cost healthcare. Perhaps it's student loan debt or quite literally any other philanthropic cause. And in California alone, we offer $610 million to fund Israel's weapons. In the county of Los Angeles alone, we offer $50 million of our tax dollars to this genocide. If the information were available for Downey, I mean, I can only imagine how much it would be. It may seem that the genocide is happening. It may seem that the genocide happening right now is a global issue and a global issue alone. But political dissent begins at a local level. If it affects me, it affects you. Please pass a ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 13, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so a couple of things. Before I start my comment, I wanted to say that I do support a transitional housing development through St. Mark's Church. I really appreciated that, considering that, you know, one really important thing with what's going on with homelessness right now is a lot of people are maybe coming out of custody or incarceration and they end up being homeless here in Downey. So I do like that the church is willing to like help those people kind of like reconceive their lives. Speaking of lives, I'm here to ask the city to adopt a resolution for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. And a lot of people might ask, well, why would we care on a city level? And it's because a lot of city officials are friends with our congressional representatives who have recently given billions of dollars to Israel to fund a genocide, essentially. And I love this city. You know, I grew up in Long Beach, I grew up in the East Side, but I was really proud to come over here because it was a safer city, and I'm a proud graduate of Downey High School, Cal State Long Beach, and recently UCI Law. And if it wasn't for the education I received in Downey, I would have never been able to do those things. But with that being said, I really need this city to do the right thing and care for, you know, lives in Palestine. And if, you know, for me, it's really important. My father was Moroccan and Palestinian, and I just want some kind of representation. Also, I wanted to maybe next year, I guess, in April, recognize April as Arab American History Month. A lot of the neighboring cities have done it. Don't know what's going on with Downey, if we can get that done. And with that being said, that concludes my comments. Eid Mubarak and shukran.
Thank you, Speaker number 13. Speaker number 14, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Bradley and staff. Couple items. First of all, I did see Jason on TV, and I wanted to compliment him for his handling of the interview with the channel person, Channel 5. He did an excellent job, and I commend him highly for his professionalism. Secondly, with regards to St. Mark's issue, I don't know enough about it, so I have no comments on the merits, plus or minus. But I would like to compliment the church for making an effort to try to help those that are less fortunate than maybe some of us on the thing. Next item I want to talk about is with regards to the federal government and our president. Our president, a couple of months ago, came up with a student loan forgiveness program, which he tried to implement. And the Supreme Court, the US Supreme Court, said that what he tried to do was illegal. Maybe illegal is not the right term, but it was not allowed. So the president is coming up with another proposal to try to have student loan forgiveness for about 30 million students if it applies and if it goes into effect. Now, in my humble opinion, I don't think it's truly a forgiveness program because it transfers the payment of those student loans to people that have no interest in those loans. In other words, the American taxpayer will have to foot the bill. So I would suggest that the president, although he won't listen to me, should reclassify that proposal as a student loan program paid by the U.S. taxpayer. And that ends my comments.
Thank you. Speaker number 15, please come forward. 1-5.
Hello, my name is Rob Irwin. I live on Dolan Avenue. This is about St. Mark's Church. You know, we're all stakeholders here in the quality of life here in Downey, and we all stand to lose in various ways if this project becomes a reality. For example, in terms of safety. Now, this has been talked about, so I don't want to cover ground that we've already spoken about. Another factor here is that we all who live here paid a premium to move in this area. That cost me and you our hard-earned income. And not to be forced to live next to homeless, low income, and incarcerated people transitioning out of public institution. We didn't come here for this to happen. The proposal will depress our property values. North Downey is an upper income, upscale, private residential area. This proposed project will label North Downey as another Los Podrinos, or the projects. It is a death knell to our property values, and God knows why they ever want to do it here. The increase in congestion, crowding, traffic, and noise is not consistent with North Downey. It is a private residential area with highly prized and sought-after cul-de-sac streets, which I live on one, and I paid a premium to be on that cul-de-sac. I'm so upset. We lose. St. Mark's doesn't have to sell their land. They will have to lease and market and have a market scalable rent in perpetuity. And the contractor walks away with a bundle of money in their proverbial pockets. Both stand to gain at our collective loss. The last item is, I only have one more item to say anyway.
Thank you. Speaker number 16.
You're welcome.
Please come forward. Speaker number 16. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. How are you doing today?
Good. Whenever you're ready,
I have these
sir.
handouts if.
Sure. Give to our clerk.
I guess this is more of a conversation with regard to ADUs than it is anything else. In full transparency, I own a company that specializes in building luxury ADUs. There is a new bill, AB 1033, it's on that form, that just passed late October of last year, that allows the ADUs to be conveyed separately than the actual home. Have we done anything with that with regard to opting into that as a city? Because I know it was up to the individual cities to opt in.
We'll get you an answer. Please proceed.
Oh, well, with regard to that, I have, my parents own a property in South Downey that I'm trying to get conveyed separately. I just don't know how to go about it, that process.
Okay, we will definitely put you in contact with Vanya, our assistant city manager, and she will get that information to you. Is there anything else you want to say to us?
That's all.
Okay, we'll get that for you. Thank you
so
for
much.
coming in.
Appreciate it.
Good luck on that project.
Thank you.
All right, speaker number 17. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, council and mayor. I made some notes tonight, but I don't know if I really need them because this is my third time addressing the council. A lady spoke about it earlier. And as you well know, a previous council did approve a policy which allows the so-called pride flag to fly every June. In my opinion, and really not just my opinion, but it's legally discriminatory and unfair. As she mentioned, if you're gonna allow that flag to fly, I see we have many people here that are here from the pro-Palestinian group, why not fly their flag? If we have somebody who represents a communist group, why not fly their flag? If we have, as we do tonight, many Christians, let's fly that flag as well. As I mentioned, this is not fair. You're giving out a carve out for a special interest group. And this really can lead to a lawsuit, as she mentioned. Other cities throughout the state, and specifically a couple in the county of Los Angeles, have adopted what's known as a neutral flag policy. And as the lady stated, that would allow the city to only fly government flags with the exception of the POW MIA flag. So I want to ask the council to consider this and put it on the next agenda if possible and get this done as quick as possible. Because again, if you don't allow for the other flags, you really have no legal basis to not do that, and it will lead to a lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 18, please come forward. 18.
Good evening. As a Downey resident for many years, I asked the city to establish a neutral flag policy and stop flying the pride flag and funding city-sponsored pride events. The LGBTQ+ agenda being promoted and pushed on our children, families, society as a whole is causing division throughout our nation. Our city representatives who are voted in must stand neutral and serve the entire community as a whole. The introduction of flying the pride flag started in our city when former Councilwoman Alvarez was elected. She introduced various items to support and promote it, including the city-sponsored Pride Festival picnics. Her influence became toxic in the city council as a whole. She was recalled. Please stay away from this place that brings sense of division and conflict in our city. If you look up the pride flag, what it symbolizes, it'll say lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer pride. It basically is sexual preferences. That is something that should be kept private. Why do we promote this on city government buildings? The pride flag is being flown at our city hall right next to the library, high school, and church where we take our children. As adults, we are promoting something that has shown to negatively affect the mental health of children and adolescents. An article from the American College of Pediatrics, and I have it here, titled Pediatricians Release Position Statement Reviewing Over 60 Studies on Mental Health in Adolescents with Gender Dysphoria, indicate just that. We should not be promoting something to the youth that is confusing them and that can have long-term effects for the rest of their lives. As adults, it is our responsibility to protect our children, and people's sexual preferences should be kept in the privacy of their homes. The City Hall and government building should only fly government flags, as it has always done, no other. Otherwise, these actions only places the city for litigation in the event other groups also request their flag to be flown. Please let me be clear. This is not about hatred against anybody. Sadly, right now, sexual immorality is perhaps our generation's favorite substitute for love, and it is being infiltrated to the youngest generation. Scripture tells us that we must flee from sexual immorality and honor God with our bodies. Speaker number
18. Speaker
I
number
request that you add
19,
an
please
item
come
on the
forward. Your time's up. Speaker number 19, please come forward. Good evening.
Yes, my name is Marina, and my family and I have been lifelong residents of the city of Downey, and we are for the neutral flag policy. We ask that you please put this on the agenda and vote for it, perhaps at the next city council meeting. As was stated previously, unless the city council decides to place a flag in front of our city hall that represents every other type of group that resides in the city of Downey, then putting up any flag that is not neutral or that is not governmental would be considered an act of discrimination and misrepresentation against the citizens who reside in Downey. And, you know, the Word of God says that the Lord Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And so I pray that each one of you, if you don't know the truth, that you know the truth, because the truth saves, and the truth will make you free. And I declare that Downey is being saved, California is being saved, and America is being saved in the name of Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Speaker number 20, please come forward. 20. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here today to thank the council members for responding to my emails that were sent in regards to my concerns regarding the community meeting that took place at St. Mark's last Thursday. I know that other council members have also been responding to other constituents like myself, that you were also made aware of this development via social media or other conversations. This demonstrates a lack of transparency from St. Mark's and Abbey Roads to begin with. They hosted this event without informing those neighbors or properties surrounding them. I also found out about this trip last minute, so I wanted to make sure I attended that meeting. First of all, the director of housing for Penny Lane Centers on Abbey Road was not transparent with regards to the individuals that will be housed there. According to the Department of Mental Health website, the transition-aged youth between 16 and 25 consist of individuals that are seriously emotionally disturbed and severe and persistently mentally ill. They are struggling with substance abuse disorders and can experience episodes of major mental illness. These episodes can be extreme. To what extent, we don't know. There is a school directly in front of St. Mark's. That is a concern for someone who is mentally unstable, as parents and children are walking in and out of that school at all times. Although the school is gated, this does not guarantee that no one is capable of jumping a fence or forcing their way in. When someone has a manic episode, law enforcement responds. This can be disruptive to the learning of the children. Would this call for a lockdown of surrounding schools or residents while the situation is stabilized? We don't know. Also, it was mentioned they would not only be housing transitional youth, but homeless. Would there be a screening process regarding criminal background checks are done to ensure registered sex offenders are not allowed to reside in these homes, as it is directly in front of a school? What impact would this have on crime? Law enforcement consistently responding to these types of calls regarding someone having a manic episode of physical altercation or crime committed at this residence is also a concern, as that means a longer response time to other calls and emergencies. These are some of the concerns and the reasons as to why we emailed all of you. We know that our emails to you all, your responses, and our presence here today is the beginning of our conversations regarding the impact of this project in our neighborhood. We thank you in advance as we reach out to your offices to schedule constituent meetings to further discuss this important matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 21, please.
My name is Arthur Shopper. I'm the field director for Mass Resistance. We're an international pro-family group, and we're here just to support the Downey residents who want to see a neutral flag policy enacted here in the city of Downey. It's not appropriate for government buildings to be promoting narrow, limited, or even destructive agendas that go contrary to the values and views of the general community. It's not appropriate to have a bias against the general public. I think it's excellent that many people are pointing out there's other individuals waving their flags, and their flags are not allowed to be hoisted on the public section. So why are they discriminated against? There needs to be a neutral policy. This has been an expanded movement throughout the country, even here in the state of California. The city of Huntington Beach, by vote of the city residents, enacted a neutral flag policy. This is a wise move. This is a unifying move. This is a proper move, and it should be done as soon as possible. I want to concur especially with Ms. Meldy Avila's comments, in spite of the fact that she was rudely interrupted. She makes a proper point. It's not about hatred, it's about standing for truth. Sexual preferences shouldn't be celebrated in a public forum, especially since they're destructive. Homosexuality, transgenderism, these are not identities. What about the identities of former transgenders and former homosexuals? Should their flags also be flying too? Where does it end? And again, there are legal issues that cannot be ignored. The city of Boston paid a heavy price when they discriminated against Christians and did not fly a Christian flag. The answer to this problem is very simple: a neutral flag, where government flags and a recognition of our veterans, they deserve to be recognized because they made the ultimate sacrifice for all of us. Neutral flag policy for the city of Downey. That's the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Speaker number 22. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Telly Nitzuris. I don't have a prepared statement or anything, but I'm here to make a statement against the proposed development on St. Mark's. And my mom, my brother live across the street from St. Mark's, right next to the school. My family has been in Downey ever since the 70s, okay? So I've seen a lot of development take place on Rockwell, just around the city, where like a single restaurant has been taken over by several restaurants. Parking's impacted. A lot of quality of life has been impacted. And as a former realtor, but knowing a little bit about properties, but from what I understand, there is an apartment like moratorium. In other words, no apartments have been built in Downey in a long time. A lot of condominiums have, but not apartments. So I see this development at St. Mark's as basically an apartment with many residents, many tenants, not owners, and people that don't own property, that are just tenants, typically that live in apartments. And I'm not saying anything, people live in apartments, people can't own always, but it's not their property. So there's no like, what do you call it, where you have a pride of ownership. You're just there as a tenant. There's going to be a lot of traffic. There's going to be a lot more people, a lot more issues in the neighborhood. And I was at that meeting last week as well at the church sanctuary. It was standing room only. There's a lot of concern from the residents for property, the values, safety. It's already been talked about, and we need to oppose this development. Just for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 23, please come forward. Good evening.
Hi. So first I want to say that it's completely absurd that we can't clap or snap. Please don't silence us. First you give us 2 minutes. This is America. This is a country where I can yell and talk crap to my elected official, and I can't be arrested for that. Don't you all love that? You must not. Also, if only everybody here cared enough about Palestinian lives, and they do, about their own comforts. Downey residents living in sought-after cul-de-sacs are not oppressed. Straight, heterosexual Christian people are not oppressed. Palestinian people are oppressed. And when will it be enough for you to put in a resolution on the agenda? We keep citing between 30,000 and 50,000 people dead, and that doesn't include people under the rubble and those just simply evaporized by 2,000-pound bombs that are made in the USA. And we know that a ceasefire is eventually coming, and are you gonna be able to say that you stood behind a ceasefire? And if a ceasefire does come and you don't support one, and you try to dare say that you did, we will be here to remind you that no, you did not. People in Gaza are screaming, but we're not listening. They cannot endure anymore. People say that God doesn't give you more than you can handle, but I don't believe that. People in Gaza cannot handle this. Nobody should be able to endure this. What can a resolution in Downey do? Just imagine the power of hundreds of US cities calling for a ceasefire resolution. I believe we're almost at 100 at this point. So passing a ceasefire resolution will be your way of saying that this situation is so bad that you had to take time away from city matters to draft and pass a resolution. We need an arms embargo and we need sanctions in Israel. A ceasefire resolution is not enough. We need more, and this cannot continue. We cannot wait for the numbers to get into the hundreds of thousands, into the millions. We must honor and respect brown people in life, not only when they're dead. I am sick of the US and our government only honoring brown lives when they're dead, not honoring them in life. So please do the right thing.
Thank you, Speaker 23. Number 24, please come forward, 24. Good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, respected council members. City of Downey. My name is Fernando. I am a lifelong Angelino, born and raised here in LA. I am also a Marine Corps veteran. I served this country from 2006 to 2010 to include a 7-month deployment to Fallujah, Iraq. I'm coming in today to stand in solidarity with my comrades and your constituents here in Downey to urge the City of Downey to adopt a permanent ceasefire resolution between Israel and Hamas. We need to emphasize to our federal officials that we do not stand for genocide. We need to let them know that the genocide stops now. Last week, I read online that the tally of children killed in these last 6 months at the hands of the Israel terroristic state has crossed 15,000. 15,000 children in 6 months. That's about 85 children a day. What did these children do? Euromed Human Rights Watch has reported over 36,000 Palestinians slaughtered in 6 months. Over 40,000 if we count the ones under the rubble. Shame on this country for conspiring in a genocide. It is US funding, it is US weapons, and it is US diplomatic backing that is allowing this genocide to continue. One of your constituents just mentioned service members being recognized for making the ultimate sacrifice. Let me tell you, this generation is done having our sons, daughters, sisters, brothers getting sent overseas for the sake of US imperialism. The mask is off. We see Israel for what it is. It is a terrorist state. And the United States is their partner.
Thank you, sir.
Ceasefire now.
Thank you. Speaker number 25, please come forward. 25.
Okay, so I'd like to start off by thanking the community members who came from St. Mark's and advocated on behalf of their project. It's very important to have truly affordable housing in our city. You know, you've done more, you're doing more, you're trying to do more than the city council has ever done in terms of housing affordability. So kudos to you, thank you. So in addition to that, I am here, like the other speakers, asking you once again, we have been asking for months now, and thankfully, you know, more and more people keep showing up, and, you know, and over in Long Beach, we had 200 people when, you know, when we demanded the ceasefire. So would you like 200 people here demanding that we oppose the genocide? Maybe you would. Maybe that is what you want. So maybe that's what we'll have. Or we can actually stand on the side of humanity. Maybe Mr. Horacio Ortiz can return emails from constituents. He said he was going to return emails to be in contact about a ceasefire resolution. So the ceasefire resolution, you don't have to do a lot of city staff time. You can look over to Long Beach, Bell, Cudahy, Bell Gardens. They've passed ceasefire resolutions. Montebello as well, where Mr. Ortiz has his restaurant. So this is a trend. And we want our congressional district, the 42nd, with Mr. Robert Garcia, to be the leader. As far as I can tell, we have had the most cities pass a ceasefire resolution. So we want even more. We want the entire district to be in favor of humanity, in favor of the oppressed Palestinian people. We don't want our hard-earned money to be spent sending bombs over to this state. We don't want Israel to have all of the benefits that we don't have, right? They just keep getting everything. It's terrible, and they're using it to bomb people out of existence. It is time to say ceasefire now.
Thank you. Speaker number 26, please come forward. 26. Good evening.
Hello. I'm here in support of a ceasefire resolution as well. I think this city should have already passed one, but you know, everything comes at its time because yeah, it's the amount of people killed is, but you know, people have already said that. Maybe something that you don't know, the amount of people amputated is about 14, mostly children, mostly without anesthesia, which is horrible, right? It's unimaginable. I mean, it was thought to be a genocide like weeks in, not because of what happened October 7th, but because of how Israel has behaved and reacted before October 7th. So we already knew what was gonna happen, but you know, people don't understand maybe history. So we waited for the international court to put a case of genocide against Israel, and still nothing. And then they started starving them after the international court of, that they brought of genocide, like intentionally saying, you know, we're gonna commit genocide in more ways now, and still, you know, the UN has voted 175 countries to 4 times to stop the bombing in Gaza. I mean, it's ridiculous. It truly is. It's sad, it's pathetic. 14,000 children have been registered killed about 2 days ago. That's not including everybody under the rubble. Those are 14,000 innocent children, there's no doubt about it. And no one's innocent until we stop the bombing. No one's innocent, so let's stop that, all right? Let's pass a resolution.
Thank you. Speaker number 27, please come forward. 27. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lisa Pena, and I've come to second what other people here have said in regards to adopting a ceasefire resolution. We're asking that the mayor and the council adds a ceasefire resolution to next meeting's agenda, and then there we're asking for an open discussion about that resolution. We're calling for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Everybody in this room has seen the tragedies of the constant bombardment in Gaza. We see it daily on the news and on social media. We're constantly reminded of the over 30,000 Palestinians that are being murdered, and this is using our money. So we're not only sending money to Israel, but we're directly sending bombs to Israel. And also, as a city, you are also investing in certain companies that are supporting the genocide in Israel. So maybe if you could also take a deeper look into your investments as a city, because these are your taxpayers' dollars here in Downey. So those are two things you could do as a city to support Gaza. And then additionally, there's already been 82 cities in the United States calling for a ceasefire, and 22 of those cities are coming from California. So as you can see, you can take the power as a California city and you can call for a ceasefire, or at least put it on the agenda. Some of the cities in California that have called for a ceasefire are San Francisco, Long Beach, Pasadena, Pomona, Santa Ana, Montebello, Alhambra, Oakland, El Monte, Laguna Beach, Ojai, Davis, Bell Gardens, Hollister, Bell, Richmond, Brentwood, Madera, Folsom, Fort Bragg, and Cudahy. And hopefully you can be the next California city to call for a ceasefire and put it on the next meeting's agenda. And also, please look into your investments to make sure that you're not accidentally funding this genocide. And also, gay rights, free Palestine.
Thank you, Ms. Pena. Speaker number 28, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Janelle, and I'm here to encourage Downey City Council to agendize a ceasefire resolution for Gaza. There are 1.9 million people starving and being attacked using weapons that say made in the USA. Downey is over 70% Hispanics and Latinos. Israel has actively oppressed Latinos and especially indigenous Latinos in multiple countries. Let's not forget that this isn't the first genocide Israel has helped commit either. They are also responsible for the Mayan genocide that occurred in the 1980s in Guatemala that killed over 400,000 people. Is that a lot of lives? They provided armed surveillance systems and training to Guatemalan forces under the request of the United States. Israel has helped train, supply, and advise right-wing regimes in 16 Latin American countries, and their involvement has always been overlooked. We must not look away now that Israel is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people. Israel is a terrorist state. We must stop providing money to a country that has helped oppress our own community and is currently oppressing another one. These regimes will never stop at oppressing one group of people. That's why none of us are free until we're all free. That's why I urge you as the Downey City Council to help us strengthen our voices by agendizing and passing a ceasefire resolution. People seem to care about how our tax dollars are being used. We've sent over $300 billion to Israel since 1948. Imagine what we could do with that money. We must put America first and stop spending our tax dollars to kill families and destroy neighborhoods. I think Jesus Christ would agree that over 40,000 innocent Palestinians in his homeland dying is an issue that should concern all humans. This is not a proportionate response to an attack. This is not a war between combatants. This is a genocide. Ceasefire now.
Thank you, Janelle. Speaker number 29, please come forward. 29. Good evening.
How you doing, Mayor?
Doing good.
I got nothing. I just wanted to lighten the mood in here with all this stuff going down. That's all. You know, between the Palestine and the church and this and that. God almighty. I just came by to...
Sir? Stop, sir. This is your warning. This is your warning. Kick her out. Her. Get her out. Please continue.
Like I said, I just want to lighten the mood, focus on what needs to be done in the city, potholes, the housing, stuff that's most important for the citizens of Downey. Like I said, if we stay on the main highway of the Downey and stay out of the weeds, we're going to be fine. You know, I've been here over 30 years. We have a great city. We have a working, cohesive city council right now so far. I got time. So I'm going to burn my time today because I earned it, and I pay taxes for it. Boy, I'm starting to sound like some of these other people, aren't I? No, I'm just grateful for the city of Downey. I appreciate it. Like I said, I know y'all made me a commissioner. I have no clue what that does, but you know, it's the blind leading the blind for me, but I'll figure it out. But again, I'm grateful for the fire department, police department, human resources, public works, blah, 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 blah. But, okay, you know, I can't. I tried to come up here and pull the crowd. I can't do it. You guys have a good night. Just keep it light. Just, you know
Thank
what?
you,
God
sir.
and country. God and country.
Have a good night, sir. Speaker number 30, please. Speaker number 30. Is there any more? Oh, 32. We have 2 more speakers. We're at 32. If somebody still wants to speak and hasn't spoken, please get a card. Good evening.
Hello. Well, I didn't plan on speaking, but I cannot sit and listen to the rhetoric that has been shared tonight without feeling remiss in saying that there are certainly 2 sides to every story. And I think it's interesting that so many of the people who are pro this Palestinian, quote unquote, removing the genocide are young. I think they need to go back and read a little bit more about history and find out the negotiations for ceasefires that have been tried over the years, over 30 years and farther. But is in as much as just today, the PLO, well, it was actually over the weekend, turned down a ceasefire agreement because it was not able to fulfill the section requiring the return of women, babies, and the elderly held hostage since October 7th. And the reason is because they're all dead. Yes, it goes both ways. We're in a war, and a war has real nasty things that happen. But the reason the Palestinians don't want to agree to a ceasefire is because they want to eliminate the Israeli people. And after they're done, they're going to be here in the United States eliminating all of us. I think all those young people who think that they've been speaking on the right side of things need to consider that there's more than that side that they've been told, and do their history and learn the reality of war and just how dire this situation is. We don't want the city, you mayor, you council people, to represent what we've been asked to represent tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 31, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, city leaders. My name is Edson Rodriguez. I've been a resident of Downey since 1995. Went to Griffiths and Warren High School. I'm an aerospace engineer and I live on Stamps Road. My house actually shares a wall with St. Mark's, where there are plans to build this transition youth housing. I'd like to go on record that I'm strongly opposed to this potential project. I'm sure that you read my email on this topic. I'm here to counter some of the points that the church and Abbey Road are making with respect to this TAY housing project. They say that this project is to help those in need, those who are homeless, transitioning out of foster care, etc. My counter to that is that research shows that simply providing housing is not a solution. These people need mental help, social help, help with drug addiction, etc. You have to build an ecosystem where you truly help these people, not just provide housing. The location and plan, as explained to us during the April 4th meeting, is not equipped to provide these services. It's just housing. The church says they will provide counseling and referrals for these people. My counter to that, providing housing services is not a guarantee that those people actually will accept the services that are provided to them. In fact, there's data that shows that the majority of these people don't want to be helped. The church claims that they will serve existing TAY people in Downey. That wasn't explained to us, and I'd like to see that stated somewhere in the plans. The bottom line is that the church paints a pretty picture, a picture that helps those in need, and I agree that teenagers and young adults that are coming out of this system need help, but I strongly disagree that St. Mark's Church is the right place to do this. North Downey is predominantly a higher income area, which will be negatively impacted by this project. The proposed TAY housing at St. Mark's has absolutely no benefit to the city of Downey and its residents. In fact, It will have detrimental effect to home prices, the safety of the immediate neighborhoods, traffic on Downey Avenue, police response time, and the city's economic resources. Not to mention that they will be placing people with mental health and social issues in front of
Thank
OLPH.
you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rodriguez. Thank you. Speaker number 32. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for hearing me out. I'm here to speak against the proposed agenda for St. Mark's Abbey housing. While I'm not against housing for the unfortunate, I actually do believe that your heart is in the right area. I'm against building a 60-unit apartment complex on an already congested street. Parking is already impossible in that area. And I just noticed that tonight you guys passed parking permits at another area with the same exact problem, where residents from the apartment parking were parking in the residential area. The same exact issue is gonna happen if this passes. I propose a compromise with the church for another affordable, maybe trade school, or another way that we can help without putting a 60-unit apartment complex in an already very congested area. We will be the ones with the parking passes pretty soon if this goes through. So I would like, us to team up with St. Mark's and help the church out in another way that doesn't require 60-unit apartment complex. Is going to already congest the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 33, and I believe this is our last speaker. 33, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. I wasn't going to speak today, and I want to speak to you regarding what they want to do. I have two kids that go to OLPH, and if anyone knows, it's a school right across from St. Mark's. I'm worried about my kids. Do I have to worry about, drug addicts jumping over the fence, having episodes where anyone could get a gun nowadays, and I have to worry about my kids? That's my question. That's it. That's all I have to say is I think we shouldn't do this. We should think about other avenues somewhere else. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. One more speaker, 34, please come forward. And this will close the speakers. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Valerie Esparza. I attended the meeting last week, and as a Northern Downey resident, I was surprised to not have received a letter in the mail box. And I just feel that the level of transparency of just that first example that I'm giving you today concerns me. In addition, at the meeting, it was mentioned that an MOU had been signed. This sounded like a success. I would like that memorandum of understanding be shared to those who signed in so that we can better understand what has been agreed upon, so that we can better understand maybe the financial circumstances that they're in, the monthly leasing agreement that they're planning to accept. I was concerned and unable to still figure out if this was a temporary form of housing or if this was going to be perpetual. As a Northern Downey resident, as many today have stated, and my husband and I purchasing our home approximately 7 years ago, if we were to try to move into this area today, we could not afford our home today. It is a sought after area. We work hard for where we live, and I do ask that full transparency of even public documents be shared to those who are interested in learning more. We're trying to have an open heart and an open understanding of what they're proposing. I myself have empathy towards those experiencing homelessness. When I run into people who are homeless, I will ask them if they've eaten. And I do what I can for those on the street. I understand that we want to get those off the street. And I don't disagree with homes that are for those experiencing homelessness. I do feel that we need them. However, in this area, please consider
Thank you.
another location.
Thank you. And that concludes our speakers. Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the mayor. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item?
Just one thing, City Manager Bradley. With respect to a neutral flag policy, I would like to agendize a conversation on that and any potential exposure we face if we don't allow other groups to fly their flags. I make a motion to agendize that.
I will second that.
All right, thank you.
So now's the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item? Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve.
Second.
Please vote.
I would like to pull number 15.
Okay.
Oh, actually, that's under administrative reports. Never mind.
Can we proceed?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Please vote on consent calendar.
The consent calendar is approved unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, there are two administrative reports this evening. Number 14, new residential street lighting installation program, that the city council receive and file a report on the new city-paid residential street lighting program, pilot program, and authorize staff to begin soliciting the program. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report for item number 14?
Yes, Mayor, we have Mr. Baumgartner, our Public Works Director, to do the report.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I wanted to provide some information on a new residential street lighting installation program. But first, provide a little background on how our residential street lights currently work. Back in 1978, the council adopted the Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, known as LLAD. Currently, the city has 6,643 total street lights, of which 2,234 are owned by the city, with the bulk of the remaining of those being owned and operated by SoCal Edison. Currently, funds are collected annually through property tax assessments, and these cover operation and maintenance of streetlights, traffic signals, as well as street landscaping. Currently, streets without lights need to be annexed into the Landscape and Lighting Assessment District, and this is done by property owners being assessed over a 5-year period for the initial capital costs, as well as being charged ongoing operation and maintenance costs in perpetuity. Another way that lights can be added on streets, if there are existing utility poles owned and operated by SoCal Edison, they can petition through a service request to have lights added to those Edison utility poles. And just kind of walking through sort of how this process works to add residential street lighting. Right now, residents will identify a need on their street for adding residential street lighting. They submit a request to Public Works staff at City Hall. Following this, staff studies the lighting needs, comes up with the number of lights that are needed on that street, and prepares a cost estimate. Currently, we estimate about a cost of $5,000 per property in capital costs. Again, this is assessed to the property owners, as well as and that's the initial installation of a light. And then the ongoing cost in perpetuity is the $21.41 for the annual operations and maintenance costs. Following this information being put together, a petition is circulated amongst the property owners. And if successful, the street is annexed into the district and costs are added to property tax bills. As I'm showing here, the 2/3 approval rate that's required during the petition process has historically been a barrier to acceptance in adding street lighting as residents, once they become aware of the cost, as property owners become aware of that initial cost, there's usually, it's difficult getting that 2/3 approval. A new residential street lighting installation program, if approved by our council, considers this barrier. Staff is proposing a pilot program. $50,000 was appropriated as part of the fiscal year 23-24 budget. With this funds and some additional funds, up to 4 street blocks could be addressed in this coming fiscal year 24-25. Back in 21, staff surveyed residents to gauge interest in adding streetlights, and at that time, it was determined that roughly 22 street blocks had submitted requests, and costs totaling approximately $2.5 million was given as the cost to be able to address those 22 street blocks. A new process to add the residential street lighting would involve, if approved, advertising this program. And at this, it worked very similar as our existing program. Residents would come forward, put forward a request to Public Works staff. Staff will manage those requests in the order they are submitted, and preference will be given to any streets without lights at all. Staff will study those lighting needs and prepare the cost estimates. The difference this time being that the initial $5,000 cost per property would be borne by the city. But the 2141 would be an ongoing cost for annual and operations and maintenance of those streetlights. The petition would be circulated among the property owners, and if successful, it would be annexed into the landscape and lighting district, and costs would be added to property tax bills. And again, in this case, it would just be for those annual O&M costs. Just to recap our program and proposal, if approved, staff would advertise the program using social media, our city website, and flyers that could be provided at city facilities, and that would be done over this next month. Staff would assess requests based on the order in which they're received, and priority again given to the streets that currently have no streetlights. We estimate that up to 4 blocks could be addressed in fiscal year 24-25, and we would be completing that assessment over the next few months, completing by June 2024. Those costs, again, what we can get done depends a lot on the length of the blocks and the construction and material pricing. But we estimate currently that approximately 4 blocks could be done under this initial pilot program. For fiscal year 24-25, streetlights would need to be designed, and we estimate that timeline for completing that would be by December of 2024. And then the last half of the fiscal year, the streetlights would be installed, and this would be completed by June 2025. Given that we would be getting a lot of information through the gauging of the interest and advertising the program, and staff going out and taking a look at different areas where there are currently no streetlights, there would be an opportunity to develop a citywide street lighting program, one that could be developed in a very similar way as we do our annual paving program. And staff would plan on coming back at a future date once we've completed that assessment to talk about how potential funding sources to go into that. But as it stands right now, we have the $50,000 that were appropriated in this year's budget, and we would follow these kinds of procedures and really following our existing process for installing the street lighting. And at this point, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any council members have any questions or comments?
I do. I have a couple of questions, a question and a comment, actually. Thank you, Matt. This is a good presentation. In our report, I see the 411 on the City of Downey Street Lighting Assessment District. And I also see that an area where can street lights be installed on wooden utility poles. Apparently, yes, SoCal Edison will install street lights on wooden utility poles owned by them free of charge. Now, what are we doing to also let our community members know? I know in the past when residents asked about this, and again, we don't have unlimited funds to do all the streets that need lighting at once, but how are we, and I saw your timeline more or less, but how are we letting our residents know that there are other programs through SoCal Edison? Are we including this information on their utility bill?
It's not currently available on their utility bill, but I appreciate you bringing up that point. I think that would be the information that we would also include in the program, the pilot program, also reminding them, the number they can call to submit a service request to Public Works staff so that we can put in those requests with SoCal Edison. The caveat being it does take Edison quite a while to sometimes review those, but if we're getting substantial interest in that and we can stay on top of that if we have a lot of requests. But we would include that information on any flyer that we would be putting out over the next month.
Sure, and I think we can definitely look at the same way we are we have our street management plan. We look at, the prioritization of the streets. There are certainly streets in our city, in various segments within our districts that have never had any lighting. And so we really want to be careful and look at, where those lighting requests are coming from so that we can try to stay as fair as possible, I guess the right word, but also because people don't like to read so much, and I hate to say this, this is a very great pamphlet, the one included in our report of FAQs, the frequently asked questions. And I'm wondering, again, is this on our website? Or how can we, because some people may have a hard time navigating through the website, how can we make this accessible and readily available for the residents? Because this is great information.
Yeah, you're correct, and it is available on our website. So kind of looking for other opportunities, we could include that information as part of our flyer to be able to kind of direct folks where to get this information.
Perhaps the library.
Absolutely.
I know we have a lot of residents coming to the library.
Yeah, we're happy to do that, as well as social media and other sources, so people know that this is.
Yes, and the community center, BJR. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I thought that under the previous administration, we had asked Mr. Delfino Cucci to come up with a map, and I was shown some sort of map where they identified some areas in need of lighting.
So
do we have that?
It's possible this was connected to the study that was done a couple of years ago. I don't believe a map was created, but there were 22 street blocks that were identified back in 21, and that's where we came up with that cost of about $2.5 million at that time to be able to design and install those lights.
So we've done some of the work in identifying some areas where we think lighting.
Yeah, and I think the reason why those had challenges moving forward is that those barriers that I spoke to, we didn't have a pilot program or any kind of program where the city would fund this. It would be borne by the property owners themselves. So we have had a number of requests and applications that come through, but as soon as they become aware of those property owners become aware of that cost, it's kind of diminished the numbers on approving, and that hasn't passed. Yeah. In any case, we haven't had any of these applications go through because of that. So,
do we know of any surrounding cities pay or partially pay for lighting?
It's not common. I would have to look into that. Generally speaking, the landscape lighting district and this process exists at many cities. I'd have to look to see if anybody has any kind of partial program to see if. But I'm not aware of a kind of a standard program to cover the cost, because it does add up, obviously.
Yes. Thank you. That was my questions. Any other questions by members of council? Comments?
I do have a question. Thank you, Matt. The 2/3 approval rate, a couple questions on that. Now, is that so is it one singular block? It doesn't extend to the corresponding blocks?
Yeah, it would be just the property owners that are on that limited block where the lights are being proposed. So the cost estimate would be developed, the number of lights being added, and just because it's important to make that clear to all of the property owners what that final cost is, because the $5,000 is an estimate, and since it hasn't actually happened, it's probably gone up a little bit over time due to higher costs. But that's an estimate and it's not just that most cities still kind of use that $5,000 cost, but I think there's this continual challenge that cities have to add lights into the program because of that barrier.
Thank you. And the second part of that question is, so it's just one vote per lot, regardless of if they have a back house or a duplex, or it's just one vote per lot? Is that?
It's one vote per lot on the petition, yes.
Thank you.
I have a couple comments and a couple questions. Being with Public Works Committee over a few years, I'm glad that this is coming forward. It was only through then that I learned that homeowners have to pay for their own streetlights, which to me was outrageous. It's costly. I like that the order received is going to be prioritized, and especially streets that have no lighting at all. Tagging on to my council members' comments, say for example, one block might be 10 houses on each side, maybe 10 homes, 20 homes. then you would put, what, spacing 2 light poles, 4 to a block?
Thank you for that question, and I did not include that in the presentation. Yes, the typical spacing that's used in streetlight design is spaced out at 150 feet. So on your typical city block, not the really long ones, you usually see 5 to 6 streetlights that are added, and they're usually staggered on each side of the street. So you might have 3 on one side and 2 on the other.
Yeah, I'd like to see if we can find in the future some more funding for this, because at the rate of 22 blocks, it's gonna take, like, as you mentioned in your report, 10 years to install street lighting. No, we need to try to fast track that. The water bill might be adding an insert into everyone's water bill about street lighting. A lot of times messages come that way. Something that we might think about, some type of an insert, and then people and residents can go to that particular website. Last year, when I was walking in a neighborhood on the island on Bluff Street, I know we connected with getting the Edison poles, lights on that, because that's totally black. I'd like to also see that we look and investigate in a lot of our alleyways where our light poles are, so that we might start making a list, and in 10 years, maybe Edison will get to it, but at least it's a chance to have free lighting, because that's safety. Number one is lighting for safety, and some of our alleys really need that. So the alleys and that and the bills, and yes, let's try to find some more funding. I think it's great. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I will now.
Just
I'm
to add
sorry.
a comment
Yes.
to our council colleagues. I too find it like weird that during my campaign, when a lot of my residents were asking for more safety, more lighting, that the cost had to come out of their pocket. So I'm really in favor of this project. I think it's a good stepping stone to something to improve the quality of life of our residents. Do we know how many streetlights have been added in the last few years through this program, without this program?
None have.
None have, zero.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good addition. I think our residents are paying a lot of taxes, and I think this is just another added feather in our hat that when our mayor says a lot. So I am in favor for this project, so I'm excited.
Great. Thank you. Okay, I will now.
Approve?
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay. I am going to now step down from the dais and leave for the night. I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem Sosa to continue the meeting. I have to abstain from item number 15 because of the conflicts I have due to my ownership of some real property in this area. So Mayor Pro Tem Sosa, if you would please take over the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. And now we will discuss the street closure application request by Angel City Market on behalf of the Downtown Downey Improvement Association, the DDIA, and fees for 3 community events in 2024. To that, the City Council approve street closure permit and requested fee waiver of $5,940.50 submitted by Angel City Market for 3 community events scheduled in 2024. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report for item number 15?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, we have our Community Development Director here to provide the report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Sosa and members of the City Council. This item, as mentioned, is a street closure application request filed by the Downtown Improvement Association in partnership with the Angel City Market, along with a request for fee waivers. The request, as I mentioned, is a fee waiver request for 3 community events planned for the year 2024. The 3 events include a Cinco de Mayo festival, which would be on Saturday, May 4th. The event would actually be taking place from 5 to 10 p.m. The second event is the Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, which would take place on Saturday, September 7th. And the event would be from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And the third event would be the Downtown Downey Oktoberfest, taking place on October 18, 2024, on a Friday from 5 to 11 p.m. This is generally the event layout. All events would close Downey Avenue between 2nd Street and approximately 130 feet south of 4th Street, and a portion of 3rd Street near the intersection of Downey Avenue and 3rd Street. All the events planned would follow the same event layout with a stage for live entertainment, a beer garden, vendors along Downey Avenue, and the Angel City Market would also be including a traffic management plan for the closure. This is a little bit more detail on, the next few slides are a little bit more detail on the events and the closures requested. The first event, as I mentioned, is on a Saturday, May 4th. The event time, as you can tell, differentiates a little bit from the street closure, and this is to allow enough time to do the prep work in advance of the event for the street closure. So the street closure would actually take place a couple hours before the event, and then we would allow sufficient time to ensure that those closures and the cleanup is concluded by a good time. So for this event, it would end anticipated 11:30, and if it would be done earlier, the event, the streets would open as soon as the cleanup and the closures are completed, but no later than 11:30. For the second event taking place on September 7th, again, the street closure would start about noon and would conclude no later than 9 p.m. And for the October 18th event, the event is from 5 to 11, but again, a little bit time before the event to allow for the street closure, and then a little bit later into the evening to allow for the tear down. As far as the event costs, this is a summary that, this is a table that summarizes the costs associated for the Cinco de Mayo festival. The fees that would be paid by the applicant as part of the street closure application include costs associated with providing police personnel for security, fire department application permit, public works inspections, public works engineering application fee, other fees associated with the building and the planning division. The total event fees for the Cinco de Mayo event are approximately $3,400. And of those fees for the Cinco de Mayo festival, the applicant is requesting a fee waiver associated with the police department personnel and also with the public works maintenance division fees, which are associated with the equipment rental and the labor involved for the showmobile. And the total waiver request for this specific event is about $2,400. The Hispanic Heritage event has a similar fees associated with it. The total event fees are about a little bit over $3,000, and the total waiver request is about $2,200. For the Downtown Downey Oktoberfest, the fees associated are about $5,100, and the total waiver request is about $1,200. And this is a side-by-side view of the fee waiver requests. Again, the Cinco de Mayo is about $2,455, $2,455. For the Hispanic Heritage Celebration, the waiver request is $2,251. And the Downtown Downey Oktoberfest is $1,234. And that concludes my presentation. Staff's recommendation is that the City Council approve the street closure permit and discuss the requested fee waivers totaling $5,940 submitted by Angel City Market on behalf of the DDIA for the 3 community events to be held in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you for that staff report and the detail. Do any council members have any questions or comments?
I do. I have one question. I know we just approved recently the Downey Chamber street closure application with their fee of $8,636 in this last approval. Did their fees get waived?
There were no fee waiver requests associated with that one.
So what's the difference between this downtown closure and or Chamber of Commerce?
I think the fee waiver requests are based on the applicant's request. I know the Chamber in the past has provided comment that they budget for those application fees as part of their event planning. The DDIA is a nonprofit organization, and for example, the Showmobile in the past, the city council has waived a fee related to that type of equipment rental and the labor for the delivery of that. In the past, the city council also has considered waivers for other community-oriented events. So again, it's up for council discussion,
I
but
think at this
there are
point
some
is
similarities.
really, there's no real policy that we have on this one, so really it's at the council's discretion on whether you'd like to proceed with the fee waiver or not. And so we're just looking for some direction on how your policy, your choice is on this particular item.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions on this, and that is, in the report, Irma, it indicates the Oktoberfest is a ticketed event. So does that mean they will be charging for they will be charging the public for that?
It is a ticketed event. I'm not clear on the charging, and I don't know if there's a representative in the audience that can maybe clarify that.
I can clarify. Hi, everyone. My name is Kenya. I'm the City Market ADIA. So the
Yeah,
ticket
Would you mind coming
I
up to-
think.
Can you come? Yes, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kenya. In regards to the ticketing event, initially we were thinking of moving the Oktoberfest onto the public parking lot on Lorena. However, we wanted this to be a community event, so the ticketing system would only be for the beer garden area in order to keep a control of people going into the beer garden area, which will be hosted by a downtown Downey restaurant. So that would be, in regards to how much the ticketing, that would be under their discretion. Again, it's only for keeping track of people coming in and out of that
Thank you.
specific area.
Now, how many vendors, Irma, how many vendors typically participate in these events?
The vendors vary. In the application, we have, let me pull up the report. We have a maximum number of vendors just because the participation sometimes fluctuates. But let me see, we have a limit of, let's see if I can find it real quick. If you want to ask me another question, I can find it while you're doing
That's
uh,
fine. Well,
I can
and again,
multitask.
to ask, to follow up with city manager just commented, I think that we've gotten into a slippery slope with these requests, and I know that is the DDIA asking for this on behalf of Angel City Market. Angel City Market is not a nonprofit organization. They're a for-profit business, and it is important for us as a council to establish a policy that really looks at waiving fees limited to nonprofits. Otherwise, the requests will continue fast and furious. We began having these requests with LA CADA a couple of years ago, and since then the floodgates open to all kinds of organizations. And I think, again, we want to be fair, and while others, such as the Chamber, pays every dollar and every dime every time they have their street fair, we recognize that Angel City Mart is doing a great job on Thursdays, but at the same time, we also need to establish some parameters. We also ask staff to come up with the community program that allocated X amount for community organizations, and you had to apply for that. That already occurred, and I just think that it is important for us at this point in time. We've come to this juncture that we do need a policy for fee waivers, and these need to be limited to nonprofits. And we can't just open it up to every single request we have. Otherwise, we are robbing Peter to pay Paul. residents clamoring for streetlights and potholes that need to be paved. And here we are approving all kinds of fee waivers. That's all I have to say.
And you know what, if I can just jump on what my council colleague has mentioned, I too have been noticing that it's just a few months that I've been in council. It not just happened with what's going on right now, but the table sponsorships that we're paying. And I think it's just money that we need to make sure that we are, keeping a close eye on. So I do want to second your motion, but also expand on table sponsorships. We can have just a specific amount that we can give to all organizations, as well as nonprofit organizations, so that we can, we don't have to come to this moment and, come in front of us.
You know what, on this topic, I support cultural events for our city, heritage events for our city, so I really enjoy seeing that and coming into our community and learning about other cultures. But I also don't support late nights past 10 p.m. And I noticed on one of the events here, it's till 11. I know a lot of residents want those streets open at night. I'd like to have that Oktoberfest be revisited. In the past, I looked at what they had done last year, and I pulled some history from last year. Everything seemed to have closed the event at 9 p.m. But right now, the other one for the Oktoberfest was going to be running, was it from 5 to 11? That's what it said on there. But again, going back to the street, and I don't think any fees were requested. They were not waived last year. They were paid by the organization. We're looking like, we said, with street lights, with only $50,000 for 22 lights. I think it comes to a point where what's the best value for the residents over the long term, as good as this event is and bringing the community together, for the source of funds that we need for all these different things, I think it's better well spent in areas that we need it for our community long term.
I have a question. Jason, how late does our Hispanic Heritage or the International Food Festival and Havana Nights, how late do those events go to?
Our events end at 10 p.m.
Okay. So I would also agree that no events should be past 10 p.m.
Is that part of the motion? Just make sure.
Yes.
Just so I'm clear on the motion at this point is to not waive fees, the event should not extend past 10 p.m., and to look at event sponsorship and come up with a consistent policy on our our sponsorship.
Yes, that is the direction, and I make the motion.
Second.
Okay.
Please vote. On the modified motion, please.
Oh, street closure permit and fee waiver. Is that it?
I thought you addressed that.
Yes, no, is that the one we're doing?
Just if I may interject, I think it may benefit the record to make the motion very clear as to what is being moved relative to the recommendation, the recommended item, and how it's being modified. I understand there were three, if I heard correctly, there were three items, Councilmember Formetta, that you wished to indicate in the motion. Is that in addition to the recommendation of the staff report, or?
No, the recommendation is we want a policy dealing with sponsorships moving forward. We are not approving this request.
Okay. So now I just only point that out.
The modification is for the time to be on all events to be, the closing time is 10 p.m.
So approving the street closure request, but at the limit of 10 p.m.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, because I just
Approving
wanted
the
to make
street
sure
closure,
that, because there were
yes.
two components, the street
disapproving
closure
the-
permit and the fee waiver were part of the recommended
Disapproving
action.
the fee waiver, yes.
Plus those additional conditions that you
Correct.
enumerated. Okay.
Hold on. I just had a question. So just clarification, why are we ending these events at 10 p.m.?
I think the residents, it starts to thin out. Not only does the staff then stay another additional hour, but the events thin out. We have residents in that area. We have people on 4th Street. We have 3rd Street. And there comes a point where the outside noise and activity, they just want the street back and to drive on it. And I've heard a lot of requests that they end at 10 p.m., and that's kind of the standard.
Have we had any other events go past 10 p.m.?
No.
No?
No, that's the question I asked Jason regarding Havana Nights in the International Food Festival. Again, because there's still, some areas there that are residential. It is important to.
My organization
Understood.
shuts down at 9.
Got a little confused with the, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Street closure permit, well,
To get
the
the-
name
to
is
get the vote.
deceiving right now.
So, again, we're voting, we already started voting on this, so,
Yes.
yeah.
The motion is approved with Mayor Trujillo absent.
Okay.
Was it all clear?
I think, City Manager
We got the
Rod Bradley
direction we
made it-
needed, yeah,
made it
we
clear.
understand.
And we're also getting a policy.
And we'll bring back a future policy to talk about table sponsorships and coming up with a consistent sponsorship level for the council to consider.
Also fee waivers for nonprofit organizations, right? Or not?
Can I get more clarity on that? I didn't actually know that was in the motion or not, so sorry, we got a little,
Well, no, I think that's
Was that included
that's
in
the
the
motion that we made, to get clarity.
we will bring back a policy on that.
Policy on fee waivers for nonprofits as well.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, our meeting will now adjourn. The city meeting will now adjourn in the memory of Detective First Grade Jonathan Diller of the New York City Police Department, who was fatally shot during a traffic stop. Deputy Sheriff Christina Musil of DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, who was killed after her patrol car was struck by another vehicle. Agent Eliezer Ramos Velez of the Puerto Rico Police Department, who was shot and killed while on duty. Lead Police Officer Adam Buckner of the Tucson Police Department, who was struck and killed in a vehicle accident. And Barbara Hayden, 83, former Downey mayor, council member, and civic leader. A moment of silence, please. The time is now 9:27. This meeting is adjourned.